Yeah,
Yeah.
it's on. Oh, it should have been on. No idea.
NUFC Early Night News with Gary DeJordy Yum Yum, Andrew Boki, Christina Cage, and Derek the Mighty Wind. Weekdays from 8 p.m. UK, 2 p.m. USA. NUFC Talk.
Hey, welcome
Hello.
to
Hey, guys.
Hawaii.
Welcome to
Aloha.
Hawaii. Look at this. We've all got the Hawaiian. Well, Borky hasn't got a Hawaiian shirt on, but he's made a big effort to be fair. What's that you've got there, Borky?
Some sort of fucking necklace thing. I don't know. Sorry, I shouldn't swear. It's some sort of necklace thing.
Instant.
Instant. That was an instant ban, wasn't it, for us?
Yep. Straight away cancelled. But yeah, we're going on holiday mode, just like Newcastle players were on the last game of the season, right? Oh, that's at least how it felt, without being too negative. But anyway, welcome to NUFC Talk.
You're
TV.
entitled to be as negative as you want about
No,
that last
I'm never
performance.
negative. Come on. There's lots of opportunity in this episode to do it anyway. Anyway, it's the end of the 25-26 season. We've officially survived another year of Newcastle United, absolutely destroying our mental and physical health. And of course, the season ends exactly how all calm, stable football clubs end their year. Isn't that right, Win? We've got Anthony Gordon currently in Barcelona, one of our top scorer actually in Barcelona right now as we speak. Tonali's agent is apparently trying to smuggle him back to Italy or any other club for that matter. We're going to talk about that as well. Half of the fan base thinks we're becoming a European superpower, whilst the other half thinks everyone's leaving by Tuesday next week. So tonight we're going to sort it all out, lads. This is what we're going to do. We're going to sort everything out. We've got end of season awards, serious ones, ridiculous ones. For Joe Linton should have probably been arrested for that ones. We've got biggest letdowns, best moments, head loss moments of the year for us personally. If some players deserve an apology for us, Win came on last night and he made a good case for Anthony Gordon. So we're going to, of course, discuss a little bit more of that. And we're also going to talk about if Barcelona are paying stupid money for Gordon. And I've got some quick fire yes no questions lined up. We've got loads to cram into this hour and a half.
Wow.
Loads to cram in. This is what happens when you get a professional host on a future
Exactly.
award-winning show. So let's jump in. We will be joined by guests throughout. I know a couple are maybe running late, but that's fine. We're the professional ones. We're the ones in the Hawaii shirts. We're the proper geezers. Right, we can only start in one place because it was official today. Keith Downey shared it. Sky Sports shared it. Anthony Gordon getting on his private jet to fly off to Barcelona. He will be there now. Apparently he's finalising the deal. And we spoke about this yesterday. In me being me, I never like to kind of rehash things. So I'm going to come at it from a slightly different angle because it's not something we covered. I said personally that I think we can go our separate ways with Anthony Gordon in a nice professional way. We were a good platform for him. He was brilliant for us. Move on. Thank you for the money. However, I want to ask you a question to start with. I'm going to come to Win first, actually. Beauty before age. And I'm going to say, Anthony Gordon, right, Win? We're selling him. It looks like it's definitely happened, of course. We're not going to debate that. But before the World Cup, there's two things here. He could get injured during the World Cup, like an ACL, and a transfer deal falls through and we don't sell him and he's out for a whole season, we don't get the money. Or he could have a blinder of a World Cup and we could get an extra 20 million out of it. So is this the best time to sell Anthony Gordon, Win, is my opening question?
Well,
because we think he's going to start for England, isn't he?
Yes is the answer. It's immaterial, really. Yes is the answer. Get the deal done, get the money in the coffers, and if it ends up maybe costing us 10 million, that's better than being a whisser and international duty costing us a season.
Okay. So now, rather than an extra 20 mil on top to kind of get more of a profit, now's the best time before he maybe has an ult. Because I think he is going to start for England. Win has to
allegedly the deal is done, so I'm not sure that the price, and if the deal is done, if he gets injured now, it's a Barcelona problem, even though it will have happened before July the 1st. But I'm sure in any event, there will be, they're not, are they stupid? I don't know.
Well, we've seen
there may be no contingencies in place.
We've seen Peter Odemwingie rock up at clubs he didn't even have an agreement with on deadline days. So you never know in football.
I hope they have got all those exits covered.
Mm.
It would be gross negligence if they haven't,
Ah,
and it wouldn't be a good start for Mr. Wilson as director of football, to
good
say
point.
the
Yeah, that would be an
to say
awful
the
start
least.
actually. Yeah.
Uh,
Borky, do you think we could have maybe dragged our feet a little bit, got him to play in the World Cup, have an unbelievable World Cup, maybe score 6-7 goals against some? I mean, with some of the teams in the World Cup this year, look like you could get back some goals. If you get 6-7 goals, you can add another 20 million on, can't you?
Well, I think we have to be a little bit worried about this transfer in regards to the hip injury. Will he pass a medical with that hip injury that's kept him out? That's the big. Nah, to be honest, get him sold. We wanted him gone. Sorry, he wanted gone. We were happy to sell. It's a great deal. I think it's a brilliant deal by Wilson, to be honest. If he's got that much money for him, and
Mm,
clause in that transfer as well, it's a great deal he's managed to put together. I
mm. I think it's interesting you talk about.
It's strange
Go,
because I don't see what they're particularly seeing in him. You think to yourself, why are Barcelona after Anthony Gordon? And there's a reason. He's obviously a really good player, and I think he's a player because he hasn't got the love of Newcastle United fans. We don't see him in the same light as other clubs do.
some of
But
us.
I think he is a great player, and I think he'll go on and do great things. And I just think,
So
well done to
so
everybody on
let
this.
let's hang on.
Well done to everybody
Stop.
on this. Everybody's won.
Hang on. Just stop you there, though. I think he is a great player, and I think he'll go on to do great things.
Yeah,
So why do you not want him here then?
I do want him here, but the season that we've had, we can't keep him here because we haven't got European football. He's too big a player not to play European football. And if you want the real reason, you know that I'll not be the broken record. But the reason we're not keeping people like Gordon is because of the season we've had, where we haven't got European football to offer him next season.
I don't know if I agree with that because I think when Barcelona, I think you might have a point in terms of maybe some other players we see leave, but I think in terms of Gordon, I think if Barcelona come calling for any player, I'm just grateful personally it's not Bruno. I'd be absolutely devastated. 'Cause I think if Barcelona come in for someone like Bruno, as much as he loves the club and he's bought into us, it's very hard to turn down a Barcelona or Real Madrid. And the other thing I'm quite grateful for actually is that Barcelona have come in with actually a sensible price. Barcelona historically, by the way, are known for being quite tight with transfer money, especially with having financial issues the last 3, 4, 5 years. And we haven't come in with like a 50 million, we'll get the player to unsettle, go on strike, PTSD from last summer with Isaac and another big club in terms of Liverpool doing that to us. So it's interesting that Barcelona haven't just come in with like a 40 million kind of offer and then Gordon get unhappy and want to be away and then we go in for
I,
45 and we have to sell him.
I think it's because other clubs wanted him, wasn't it? As I say, he's a great player. He's a good footballer. And other
Mm,
clubs wanted him, so Barcelona have came in with a sensible offer. We've obviously had the deal set up for weeks now.
yeah.
That deal's
Yeah.
being in place. You know,
You think so?
so oh,
Hang on. All of the headlines were screaming he was going to Bayern.
aye, but when you look at this, how quickly this has happened and how easily it's been from just to be
Exactly.
allowed to
No,
fly across and
I
things
think
like
that's
that.
Barca
Just
doing a proper job.
no, I think the wheels have been in motion. I think
Good
Wilson's had the
question.
deal in place, and we're doing it's good for everybody. People will hate
Mm.
the fact that in a few years' time when they watch the best, potentially one of the best footballers in the world at Barcelona banging in goals, and we had him, and they'll be, why did we only sell him for 80 million?
Yeah.
You look at it, but you
Well,
look at it at the
I
minute,
look forward to those
it's the
days
right
coming. I
deal.
say because you bastards wanted rid of him for 40 million.
I didn't. I didn't.
No, I'm not saying well, Boogie would have taken 60 million. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Done well to get a good fee. Done well to get a good fee. What's
Not,
also interesting is I
not what
hope
he's
we've
worth.
yeah, well, I think 80 million is with add-ons, isn't it? And
Yeah, yeah.
I think with Gordon it's a funny one because you've made a good point there, Win, in terms of we got what he's worth. I think he probably is worth about 70 right now. However, in the future, depending on which, it wouldn't surprise me either way, right? If Gordon went to Barcelona and absolutely took off and was worth 110 this time next year, that wouldn't surprise me. But it also wouldn't surprise me if he struggled to get any sort of consistency or lots of game time and he stop-start and he's worth half of this next season. Neither would surprise us. And I think that's been my thing with Gordon personally, is it's the inconsistency. I would love him. Well, if he was staying at Newcastle, I
But
would love
we
him to
win
get that
we
consistency back.
we win anywhere with this transfer though. If he goes in and brilliant, then we've got the money for him. if he goes in and's crap, he gets sold on, but we can still get 15% of what he gets sold on for. It's just a great deal by Wilson. I just think it's
No,
a brilliant deal.
we'll only get 15% of
15% of what he gets sold on for, but
over the top,
Yeah. It's very interesting. I think it is a good piece of business overall. I think what's important is obviously we try not to lose too many, because whichever way we look at it with Gordon, and we've got to be honest, we lost our top goal scorer last season, Isaac, obviously very different circumstances, refusing to play for the club and represent the club. And then we've lost our top scorer from this season as well. So does that worry you in terms of 2 summers coming? Obviously, we want to try and close the gap. Of course, we do, and I believe the club are doing everything they can to try and close that gap. But when Barcelona come in for a player, like I say, who says no to Barcelona or Real Madrid? And when Liverpool come in for that was slightly different, because Isaac clearly felt like he'd achieved what he could at Newcastle. But either way we look at it, the context is obviously important, as I say all the time when I'm on here. But we've lost 2 top goal scorers in 2 summer windows, and as much as some of us, I don't think many people have come on and said we're absolutely crying. It's like an Andy Cole moment for Anthony Gordon's leaving. I don't think it's that kind of reaction, but we have lost 2 top scorers in 2 summer windows. Is that something worrying for you guys, or do you think it's not really a correlation? Go.
There's a couple of chats in here on the subject.
can we do Connors
Sean,
as well?
not
if you've
Sean,
seen that?
no, Sean's saying
Oh, yeah.
Barca couldn't afford 26 million for Rashford, but they can pay 65 to 80 million. I don't think that's right, Sean, because I think that the whole point is they could have got Rashford for 26 million, and they still decided to go for Gordon at 80 million or whatever, 75. Pick the number you want to believe. And I just think that's how much they rate Anthony Gordon, because as Rashford has proven while he's been there, even he's not a bad player, and they could have had him for 26 million, and they've decided to go for somebody who's 30 million. And then Free Deerskin says Barca agreed to pay extra for Gordon under the agreement that we buy a real Betis winger who I can't pronounce.
Yeah, as Abdi or Abdi gets kind of
because gets Abdi, doesn't he? Yeah,
because they've got a sell on clause with him, so they may be getting a bit of that back from.
Football's very political. It could be back. It could be. I mean, we've been linked with him. I think in the last week, I've seen that rumor come about.
Yeah, I've seen it a couple of times.
That could be.
I hope we don't get him, because I can't pronounce his name.
So why did Newcastle United fall out? The fans fall out of love with Anthony Gordon? Because I remember when he first signed, and he was absolutely loved. He'd went to Metro Centre and was doing his shopping, and somebody seemingly dropped him off at home. There was like good news stories coming out from him. Why did fans? Because I rate Gordon. People fell out of love with him.
I've said it in the forum, because we were having a crap season. And the fans need somebody to blame. And Anthony Gordon, unfortunately, was the one that they chose to pile on. And once one did it, it was just like a snowball. Once everybody agreed and agreed and agreed. So anything that happened, it was always for the bad reason and not for any other possible reason.
But why was it particularly Gordon? Why was it Gordon that people had these?
And then it wasn't helped when Eddie said he prefers, and I'll argue, the cows come home with our Lord and Master, who says preferring is refusing. It's completely not learn the English language. Mm-hmm. He said he preferred to play on the left. He never refused to play on the right. Howe decided that it was better for the team for him to be on the left.
But there's got to be a reason why people fell out of love with Gordon. I think mine is that I just think he's a cocky little bugger at times. That's the problem.
I like that about me.
He's got an attitude about him that I don't like, and I think that's why I fell out of love with him.
I think a big part of it was, obviously, this season hasn't gone to plan. And I think there's some players in that squad who almost you're not allowed to criticise a Newcastle fan, or feels like. So Tonali hasn't had a good season, and people have said he hasn't had a good season, but it never went past that because his work rate was incredible. Bruno, again, does get criticism at times, but with what he's done, you can't target him. I think Gordon was an easy target, mainly because of his style of play. Sometimes he doesn't look interested. Doesn't mean he's not interested. Just means he's maybe conserving energy to get on the ball, to kind of use that rapid, like that pace, acceleration. And I think Gordon is just an easy target in terms of he's He's not a lazy player. I'm not saying he's a lazy player because he's not. But he's not the hardest working player. And he's also a player who likes to take chances, which means pass forward, put a cross in, which also means give the ball away. So for them reasons, I think Gordon become an easy target because he would give the ball away because he's trying to be progressive when he's got the ball, whether he's dribbling or passing. He would also shoot from outside the box. And again, it would go wide and all that type of stuff. So I think Gordon was an easy target. And I think that might be part of the reason why some of them fell out of, or some fans fell out of love with him. And there's not many easy targets in our squad anymore because we love Byrne, we love players like that, Lewis Hall, and you know
Byrne
what I mean?
gets his fair share of stick.
He does, but it's never like it has been with Gordon, where it's been we want to actively look to sell him.
To be fair, Byrne gets stick, but that's when he's at left back, and I've always came on this channel and defended Byrne, saying that I think he's a fantastic centre back, but he's definitely no left back. I think that's why Byrne gets so much. There was a Prosiak, I think put a gifted membership there, didn't he?
Gifted membership is in.
Prosiak in yet again. Thank you, Prosiak. And that has gone to Kevin Bell. Kevin Bell, why are you not a member already?
Ooh,
shame
good
on
name.
you.
Good name, Kev Bell. Great name.
And there's Wazza coming in. Lovely Wazza.
Yes,
oh,
Wazza.
my favourite three all together, like a lovely bunch of coconuts.
Look at the shirts. Hey, we're all on holiday. We're summer. It's hot in England. I mean, to be honest, when it's hot in England, right? I know we've got a lot of American followers as well. When it's hot in England, you know it's hot in England because everybody starts dressing differently, acting differently, talking differently, and all of a sudden, for about 5 days a year, we're quite a nice bunch for British for 5 days a year when the sun's out.
I'm gonna give me mum a shout out here because been out with her all afternoon, having a nice pub lunch and sitting around, and it was beautiful sort of sunshine, the Hastings Arms in Seaton Delaval. Like, I'm well recommend it, and thank you very much, ma'am, for taking us out for dinner.
What's your mum's name?
Judith.
Hello, Judith. How are you doing if you're watching?
More importantly, is Judith a subscriber? Is she a member?
No, she doesn't like win.
No, you're not a bad judge, but you're not a bad judge.
Come on. Hey, we've got
no, she does. I bought her one of your books, mate.
Hey, look at this. We've got nets in Germany. We've got the weather coming in now. Live weather on this show. This is why it's future award winning.
Yeah.
We've got live weather from Germany. We've got live weather from London. It's raining in London. It's hot in Germany. And if there's anybody in Manchester, I can guarantee it's raining. It only ever rains in Manchester.
Just to see if you are in the south, I think there's actually a weather warning tonight for red rain.
And we've come on here like absolute bells in Hawaiian shirts.
Down that side of the country.
Hey, what we're doing here. Right, we've discussed a little bit of Gordon, and we are coming back to Gordon for a couple of little things.
Before you go, there's Gary Yates saying, there's great players and elite players. If momentum isn't with you, elite players never lose focus. They still strive to win. I think AJ's body language at times never showed that elite level.
That is interesting.
And again, it's down to body language. I was always a big critic of Chris Waddle because his body language was always...
But to be fair, I said last night, you look at Gordon, you know, he doesn't do any less. He does probably more, but he does do more than a Ginola and a Rob Aders ever did for the club. You know, he'll track back, he'll run, he'll. It's just something about him that's just it's just not in our psyche now. That to like the fan base, it's a strange one to try to explain because he is a good
I think it's different now, isn't it? Like you have to now. Yeah. You don't get Ginolas or Waddles or Ben Arthurs, even Maxey's. I know Maxey's still playing, but not in the Premier League. It's very hard to get like a maverick player. Ryan Cherky at Man City is one I can think of who doesn't really run that much, but is incredibly skillful and can get away with it. I mean, Doku's quite skillful, but he runs hard, he tracks back, so he's also classed as an athlete. So I think it's just the way football's going, unfortunately, which is where we're at. Right, we've discussed Gordon for the first 20 minutes of his show, shock horror. And we've got lots planned, haven't we? So very quickly, there's a couple of things. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you become a member, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all these things which massively help the channel. It's so important you get to do it. If you are watching this now and you've already done that, click the share button on YouTube, send it to somebody and just get them to subscribe instantly. Tell them, just subscribe to this channel. It's my favourite channel. And they've got mint Hawaiian shirts on, so you have to. It's not raining near Manchester. Nice to know. First time this year.
Nice to
I
see
do
you
be
in the
careful
chat
that
as
we
well,
get in
Tony. I
trouble,
haven't
man.
seen you for a while, mate. I know
Yeah,
it's
he's back.
early and everything.
Tony T. The other thing as well, we've got a prediction kind of World Cup coming up. I'm a win. Do you want to tell the audience a little bit about what's coming up with that?
I'm not sure what the hell's going on with that, to be honest.
Forky does. Go on,
Wait.
Forky.
All right.
I think we've got to predict. I think you've got to be a member of the channel. So to be in it, you've got to be a member. Costs £10, and I think the top 4 places get a prize.
Top
So
4 places get a prize.
you
Whatever,
go in and
whatever turns out being, every
yeah,
penny we take
every
in
penny will come back to the
will
fans.
come back out.
Yeah,
And
Yeah. Always.
apart from wins drinks for one Friday night. So
People don't mind paying
well,
for
that
wins
takes a
drinks.
lot. That
that would be the lot.
People don't mind paying for wins drinks as long as we get a little bit back. Right, perfect. So, Gordon talk. This is also coming out from Alex Cook on Talk Sport today. Actually, we'll go through that comment first before I move on. Go on.
I think it's pretty representative of a lot of people. I like Gordon, but I'm all right with him leaving.
Yeah.
Stunning winger on his day. Did it in the Champions League. Got goals at the highest level. You can't deny that. I just think he started lacking enthusiasm and playing.
Sometimes players want a new challenge, and that's okay. Sometimes they've been there 3-4 years and they want something new. And that leads us nicely into Sandro Tonali. Alex Crook on Talk Sport has said today that Tonali's representatives are working tirelessly to get him out of the club. I mean, that sounds almost desperate to get away from us, which doesn't come across when you watch him on the pitch because he's an endless runner. He's an absolute engine. He never pulls out of tackles. He flies in. He plays with his full commitment. So I don't think we can question his commitment on the pitch. But what do you think of this? I mean, Sandro Tonali has asked his agent to work tirelessly to get him out of Newcastle United. That sounds really worrying. Or is this just a media kind of spin again?
You see the way you even made that statement.
Yeah, I'm questioning everything, Win.
Because you're saying Sandro Tonali has asked his agent to work tirelessly.
Exactly.
You've read the article, you know, that his agent is allegedly working tirelessly, da-di-da. You know, that might just be to feather his own nest. It might not be on Tonali's direct instruction. You must work tirelessly to get me out of this.
He might not say that, but it might be interpreted that way. But he might actually tell his agent, "I want to be out." And Tonali's agent has been so vocal this season. We haven't heard a peep out of Tonali's agent during his time on Tyneside. And then all of a sudden, the last 2 or 3 months, there's been lots of talk about we'll see where at the end of the season. Sandro might want to go back to Italy. And look, if he wants to go back to Italy, he's had a young child. I completely get it. I would never hold that against any human being wanting to do what's best for their children. And I mean, God, I'd rather live in Italy. So I don't blame him for that, but it's a little bit worrying in terms of the way it's been worded. So do you think it's just media win? Do you think we are just kind of trying to make a story here?
No, I mean, you know, naturally, a player of Tonali's class is going to want to be playing Champions League.
Of course, yeah.
But he's also, you know, like you said early on tonight, he hasn't had the best of seasons. I mean, compared to last season, he's had a poor season. But last season was spectacular. You know, the reason that we aren't getting Champions League is because too many players like Tonali have underperformed.
Yeah.
And so if we go back to the Isak saga, when before the season had ended, and the reports were coming out, then Isak said he's leaving if we don't get Champions League. To which Eddie's reply then was, well, bloody make sure we do get Champions League then.
Mm-hmm.
So it works both ways.
We're skirting around the issue a little bit, though, aren't we? Let's be honest. The reason these players want away is because of the type of season we've had. You know, sorry, that was me. Now we're a 12th place Premier League club. You know, we've had that sort of season. your local rivals are in bloody Europe and you're sitting there not. It's not understandable because the players are the ones to blame as well. They've done bad on the pitch, but it's understandable. Players are going to want to be away because next season, what we actually got to offer them as a club, we haven't got Europe. You know, we're potentially, I mean, could struggle again in the Premier League. There's nothing saying that we're going to. I think we've all got it in our head now that Eddie Howe, because he does one day a game a week, we're going to do really well next season. But that might not be the case. And if that's not the case, we're in big trouble as a club. So I think this is a consequence of the type of season that we've had. And Tonali wanted to be away, but I don't think you can blame him. And to be perfectly honest, I don't think it will be a massive surprise if he does go. I think, there's teams out there that'll want him. They'll be willing to pay the money for him because he's a good player. And we'll be willing to take that money and hopefully we can build on the money that we get in. But it's a strange transfer window because it's going to be a worrying one. You know,
Mm.
there's two ways we can go, and this
It's
is
going to be
always
an
the case when
exciting
you're
one,
buying
man.
players. But I'm saying, there's two ways you can go with this window win, isn't it? They can go, we'll have a brilliant window and we'll go up, or we'll have another one like last
Yeah,
season and
the two ways we
we'll
can
go
go.
down.
You can
Yeah,
look miserable like you are looking, and look forward to a
I'm
bad
not
window,
miserable.
or you
I'm
can
just
be
worried.
smiley,
I'm,
smiley, smiley,
no,
happy,
no,
clappy, and say we're gonna have a brilliant window.
but I'm just really, really worried that
It certainly cannot be any worse than last
where,
year's.
but exactly, and that's why I'm really, really worried. It's a strange situation to be in.
Gordon going, can we include a certain someone?
Oh,
Oh, that's
Ooh.
odd. So he's obviously be referring to Mr. Howe.
okay.
By the way,
Fingers crossed, mate. Fingers
I
crossed.
I wouldn't rule that out yet either.
No,
Oh,
no.
I think he's safe now. He's safe for this. I
I,
think
I,
he's
I
there
know
next
I know
season.
he's safe if he wants to be safe.
Imagine he turns around and says, "You know what? Half the fans are getting restless after what
Yeah,
I've done for you. See you in a
yeah.
bit. See how you
It
get on
would not
without us."
surprise
Imagine
me.
that would be horrendous.
I think if
I don't
Eddie
think he
was
will.
going
He's
to do
too
that,
classy.
no,
He's
I
too
think he
classy
would have.
for that.
He's too classy for that. Plus, I think he would have been on that plane to Barcelona with Gordon if he could have been. So, you know,
He's,
come on,
he's too
son, let's go to Barcelona.
he's too classy to turn around and do that. Um, very interesting. So I mean, Tonali looks like I actually think personally Tonali won't be a Newcastle player for the majority of next season. I think Man United are probably looking favourites as we speak, with obviously having Champions League football back, and we talk about the teams we've lost our star players to. Isak to Liverpool, one of the biggest club in England. Manchester United, the other biggest club in England, potentially Tonali, and Barcelona. Nobody says no to Barcelona or Real Madrid. That is just the way football works, unfortunately. So at least we're losing these players to clubs. I mean, it would hurt a little bit more if we lost a Tonali to a Villa. I think that would be unacceptable, and a lot more
Yeah.
questions would be asked, or even a Gordon to a Villa. Would be a lot more questions asked of why are we strengthening a direct rival. But again, Villa weren't a direct rival this year, but in terms of the last 4 or 5 years, we've been pretty close in terms of 2 Champions League campaigns each, I think. So very interesting around Gordon. The other kind of thing I want to touch on in terms of transfers is, and I don't know if you've seen this, but the discussions which have, again, apparently is the big word, been happening with Chelsea. Apparently we've asked about Achimpong and Delap, which Delap's been linked for pretty much 12 months to 18 months now. Mental. But also in them discussions, Tonali was talked about. Bruno, my God, was talked about. That would be disastrous. And Lewis Hall was also talked about going back to Chelsea. So again, it's all apparently, but we've got to try and cover everything Newcastle based as much as possible. And these rumours do pick up a lot of speed, and we are current right now. Do you think there's any truth in clubs having discussions like this, discussing 4 to 5 players about 2 can come this way, 3 can go that way, or we'll give you 1 and then we'll make this? And we saw it happen with Forest, I guess it's the best example, with Elliot Anderson and then us taking Lacademos. So we know it does happen, but do you think there's any kind of, I mean, would Hall want to go back to Chelsea?
Well,
Ah,
specifically with regard to two-way transfers,
mhm.
UEFA have now more or less put the block on that in terms of in terms of it helping your FFP kind of thing. You can't. If we want to sell a player to Chelsea and take a player off them, then you're not allowed to have a price differentiation or words to that effect.
Mm.
You can't say mine's worth 100 million, yours only worth 50 million, and call that 50 million profit on on your FFP balance sheet.
Okay.
So you can't do that anymore.
Because I know squad cost ratio will all be about obviously transfers, wages,
It's
and what's going
transfers,
into.
agent fees, and wages against
Yeah.
revenue.
Yeah. Do you think? I guess I'm going to come to Boaty. You can add to that as well, Boaty. But I'm also going to ask you to touch on Bruno to Chelsea would feel like heartbreak.
Okay.
Tonali to Chelsea, I think it's more likely to be Man United. But the Lewis Hall one worries me a little bit.
Do you know what? Bruno, I don't see going anywhere. I think we love Bruno in the Northeast, and I think he's one of these players, Kev, you were on about that were
I
over.
was, yeah.
Yeah, he's a great player. Don't get us wrong. He's a great captain, but I don't see him at a massive club. I don't see him being. He's a bit like a big fish in a little pond, I suppose, is the thing at Newcastle. He's a great player. We absolutely adore him, but I think we see him through rose-tinted glasses. He hasn't got any pace about him, and he can have absolutely crap games. We've all seen him this season. He's been absolutely shit in some games. So, there's that side of him as well. Hall is a different kettle of fish. I think
Mm.
Hall will move forward as a player. He'll end up in a different position further forward on the pitch. And yeah, I can probably see him at a Chelsea or something like that.
Going back to Chelsea.
I can see him moving on. I can see him being, he's a great player. He's a good player. And again, I know we discussed about, do we see him through slightly different eyes? Yes, we do. But I still think he is if you're looking at it now, if you were Chelsea and you're going to spend a load of money on a Newcastle United player, would you do it on a 29, 30-year-old Bruno?
28 currently, but 29 next season.
29 next season, or do you spend it on as he whole 21, 22?
20, 21 next season
But
this year.
28,
Yeah.
20, that says is when they're in their prime. I'm telling you
But
now.
that's it. But that's exactly. But that's the point. That's the point.
Bruno
He's
went
in his prime.
to a top club surrounded by better players, he would improve. As hard as that sounds,
But he wouldn't, because the one thing he hasn't got is the pace. The one thing you need probably as a Premier League footballer to get to that elite level is that there's a little bit of pace about him, and he hasn't got that. So that'll always drag Bruno back a bit. And as I say, I think I love Bruno to bits. Don't get us wrong. I'll sit on here and defend Bruno 100% of the time. But I just think we see him through slightly different glasses than other players,
Well, I said
teams do.
not about Bruno. I said this about Lewis Hall to Christina when we were talking about if we can get a good price for Hall.
Yeah.
It's a fullback at the end of the day, and she was like, "Name me a better fullback." I said, "Well, I don't watch other fullbacks every week like I do Lewis Hall." So obviously, my opinion on Lewis Hall is going to be probably a little bit over the top, and my opinion on some other players might not be, as accurate as what they could be because I don't watch them as much as I should. So I do agree with that point, but I think with Bruno, for me, it's not just how I think he's been amazing this season in terms. I know he missed it off through injury, but he's still got 9 goals and 6 assists or something, like 15 goal contributions ish for half a season, or just over half is incredible. But for me, it's more what he means to the club. Look at the team when he's not in it. It's just it's not the same. He's the heart and soul. I know people say about Trippier buying into the project, which he did first. Absolutely fair play to Trippier. But in terms of performances on the pitch and dragging us, the Fulham 2-1 at home this season was literally Bruno scoring in the 90th minute and dragging us through that game. He dragged us through other games this season, 2-1, where I think it was at Forest, or was it like a 4-3 maybe last season? I'm thinking we were dire, and Bruno just stepped up and played a ridiculous pass or got like a tap-in goal in the last minute. He's almost like our Steven Gerrard. Not saying he's as good as Gerrard or worse than Gerrard. I'm not going to get into that debate, but for me, he's unbelievable. Then to go to Boaty's point about age, I think I agree with you, Win. 28 peak. However,
no, I'm not saying 28, 29, 30.
30, yeah, I agree. But I think football now, obviously the business side, you would happily invest that in a peak player for 2-3 years, but I think what Borky's saying is, as a business, if you've got the opportunity to sign somebody who you could have for 10 years at a very good level for 60, 70 million, then it would be the younger player, which would be Lewis Hall, which I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth, but I think that was kind of a business aspect of that deal you were talking about. We've had a super chat as well.
Yeah. Tony T again, 90s mentality. 30 isn't retirement anymore.
Slags. I love that. Right.
Tony, I've missed you in the chat, mate. You, one guy in the chat that's got a bit of sense. But hang on, apart from this guy, Ads has got hell of a lot of sense.
He's saying you're booked in for mental treatment for a year. That's your man.
Wait there for Eddie. I think that is not me.
Ooh.
I think I've booked Eddie in for a year of mental treatment.
Make sure you
may be because you need a year of mental treatment, having had to endure Eddie for a year.
Just supporting Newcastle. Just supporting Newcastle is part of that.
Lads, with Bruno, can I just come back to that? Because it maybe's come across that I didn't like Bruno. I love Bruno a bit.
We all love Bruno. There's not a Newcastle fan who doesn't like Bruno.
He's a fantastic player and he's a fantastic advocate for the club. But the one thing I'm seeing is, he isn't as a great as footballer as we build him up to be up here. He plays for Brazil, so I think it's a difficult one to explain. But I think he's a brilliant footballer, but he's not the best footballer ever. I think that's the way maybe to put it.
Yeah, I think
he's one of the best I've ever seen in a black and white shirt.
He would get in my all-time Newcastle 11.
Oh, without a doubt, he'd walk in.
So I guess, yeah, maybe. You know what?
I think that tells you more about Newcastle United than it does.
No, we've had some good midfielders, haven't we? We've had obviously Rob Lee, Gary Speed. Who else would you? I mean, Gaza. I know he didn't have his best years at Newcastle, but Gaza is part of that as well.
I would love to have seen a midfield with Terry Mack and Bruno in.
Terry Mack. I mean, Kabay was unbelievable. But yeah. Another super chat. £5, Michael McIntyre.
Gone Abidi in Toon. Hope you're right.
Thank you very much. Keep the super chats coming. I'm loving it. We're on fire. And we're only 38 minutes in. I say only. We've only discussed transfers. And we're going to carry on for another 5 minutes before we get into some end-of-season awards. Incomings, very quickly. What's this about? Newcastle wouldn't be an upgrade in his career. He has Liverpool, Chelsea as options. Who's that about?
Not sure.
Bruno?
The problem is that could be any player, couldn't it? They are up. I think this is what we forget as fans. Going on to a Liverpool or a Chelsea, to fans from outside this area, or players from outside this area, they will see as upgrades. So they will see more. They will see that.
Well, I've been saying that for 2 years now. People need to know where we are in the pecking
order. Let's be honest. As much as we love Newcastle, Manchester United, Liverpool, I mean, even Chelsea, who have won 2 Champions Leagues and stuff now, and I know Chelsea are in a transition as well, and they're very hit and miss. They are upgrades, of course, and I think it's important. I guess that's also a problem. We've got some, I'm not naming any names, we have some Newcastle fans who kind of think we are the biggest club or one of the biggest clubs up there with Man U, and we're not. We're not up there with Man U. We're not up there with Liverpool. They are just a tier above in terms of size, but it doesn't mean we won't get there one day. It'll take a hell of a lot of time and a hell of a lot of trophies, and I hope it happens. But of course you're going to lose players to the likes of them teams. That's natural, but that's where we've got to be sensible and have a plan of who replaces who when we do get sold. And we have to be a good selling club as well as a good buying club to make sure we get the best money possible. Look what Brighton do with McAllister and players like that, and Belieber looks like he's going for 100+ million. And then they'll bring somebody in who no one's heard of, and they'll be just as good, and we'll go and finish 8th again. And you think, how on earth do Brighton and Bournemouth and Brentford keep doing this? But it's because they've got structure above us, and we were abandoned for 14 years. Let's be honest on that, Ashley. The academy was left to rot, so we haven't got a lot of young players coming in like Man City do, just selling loads of young players or putting them straight in the first team. And we don't have a long-term plan because there wasn't one for so many years. So it is going to take time. Especially when new players are on.
I think Wazza makes I mean, it's not very often Wazza does this, but he makes a really good point in the chat. If Bruno had pace, if Bruno had pace, if he was a fast player, he would be worth a hell of a
Yeah.
lot of money. You know,
Great point.
you imagine him with you with him with Pierce. It's a brilliant point. I think he possibly could be one of the best players in the world. You know, if he
Yeah.
had that turn of pace about him, because
Thank God he
he's got
doesn't have it, because he
every.
wouldn't be at us. He'd be at Real
That's
Madrid.
it. He did. You know, when you think about it, if he had that, who could you think that's better than him? At what else he does? He's
Yeah.
great at everything else. It's just that little turn of pace he hasn't got.
Mhm.
If he did have that, I think was right. He could be the first £200 million footballer.
Yeah. I agree 100%. Actually, it's a great point. Very quickly, two incomings. Abde, we've mentioned, and let's be honest, none of us have really watched him religiously, so we're not going to comment on him. Another one which is starting to pick up traction, but I think there's going to be competition for him. Relegated West Ham player, which isn't Jared Bowen, Crescencio Somerville. I would love him at Newcastle. I thought he was excellent at St James's. As bad as West Ham were, every time he got the ball, I was thinking, oh God, please don't run at speed. And I think he'd be an amazing signing. So what do you think about Somerville, very briefly, as a potential income? I'm going to go Win on this one first.
Yeah, I would love him. Funny enough, Gary, who's in the chat there, me and him had a bit of a disagreement about that, about
Okay.
how good he'd been when I thought he was excellent, and Gary didn't think he was that hot. But I thought he was easily their man of the match. Yeah, when we did a show not so long, I don't know when it was, a couple of weeks back maybe, when we looked at the relegation squads and who would, the potential relegation it was at the time, but we looked at Forest, West Ham, Spurs, and Leeds, and said who would you take from any of these kind of squads, and Serencio was my pick from West Ham. I mean, Bowen was me first pick, but
Yeah.
I've wanted Bowen at Newcastle for what, 3 years now. By all accounts, he's staying to fight the good fight, and good on him for that.
Yeah.
I think
Sounds
his
like, I mean, anything
father-in-law and
happening in
his
football.
missus might have had something to do with that.
Gareth Barry said he wasn't leaving Villa, didn't he? And then the next day signed for Man City. So we never know in football.
I
But
think Somerville's
there'll be bigger clubs than us for Bowen if it turns
Yeah.
out that he is leaving.
I think Somerville's just a. If you can get him for a decent price, he's a no-brainer, isn't he? Is he 23?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, if you're getting him for a lower price, because I mean, West Ham are in the shit going down this season, aren't they? Let's face it, they are going to be absolutely knackered, money-wise
Knackered.
moving forward. Absolutely knackered. You know, we've got to be honest about it. You can probably go into West Ham and get players for next to out because they just need to sell. The, how the hell are they going to survive in that league? How are they going down
Potentially.
there? And
I mean, I personally
but
want Somerville, but potentially could Somerville become another Elanga? Quite head down, relies on pace. Is that possible? Or just before we move on to Was a Super Chat?
I don't think he's the same type of player as Elanga. I think he's
Okay.
slightly different. So
I think he's got a
let's
better.
face it. We're not going to pay 55 million for him, so it's not going to be so much of a worry.
Good point. Good point. Super Chat was that?
So what was I saying? I want Hackney and Murphy the other way.
So Hayden Hackney from Middlesbrough and Jacob Murphy to Middlesbrough
Murphy
is what he means there. Hayden Hackney.
Does he mean Jacob Murphy or does he mean Hayden Murphy?
I think if you're talking about Murphys, you're talking about Jacob, aren't you? He's the first team player.
Let us know. Thank you for the
I think
in the chat.
Hackney's interesting because Hayden Hackney, I think he's a 22-year-old again, like quite an attacking midfielder who, in the Championship, looks very good. And actually, I have been impressed with him at times. I watch obviously more Championship probably than I should because if it's on, it's on the telly. Simple. But yeah, I do like Hayden Hackney, but it's a gamble, isn't it? I don't think it would. Is that the transfer you start with? Does it matter who comes in first? I guess kind of where the fan base is at the minute, we might want a big signing as the first one, and then maybe a couple of quieter ones like a James Hill from Bournemouth. I've seen mentioned can play centre half and right back. You don't want no disrespect to his players, 'cause I think James Hill would be perfect for what we need, and he's got a long throw, which could be another thing. So this is nothing against James Hill at all. I would love to see him at Newcastle, but you want that big name, I think, first. Even if you might have it done and completed, you might not announce it straight away. Or am I talking a whole lot of rubbish here, Bogey?
No, I was just going to say, sorry, it just popped in my head there. Is this going to be a quiz question in a few years' time? Who are the only club to have failed twice to get into the Premier League in regards to one season? Because Middlesbrough lost in 2 legs of it.
Oh, they
You
did.
know,
And then lost
you
again
know,
in the final.
yeah. So, I
Yeah.
mean, to be fair, sorry, we'll go. I don't want to deflect onto Middlesbrough, but they're also the club that went down because of not playing a game. You know, they were the
when
team.
they got the 3 points deducted.
Yeah. So,
Mm.
I think it's a strange situation for a Middlesbrough fan. I just
Yeah.
think if we're going to go in for players, just do it. Just go in and get them.
Yeah, straight
You know,
away, get Hayden Hackney if we
let
can.
let's be. You know, we've been great with Barcelona getting rid of Gordon. You know, sort of everything's been in place, and you know they've done the professional thing. Sorry, great's probably not the word, but you know everything's been in place. But let's do it the other way as well. Let's be Billy Big Bollocks when we're going to buy players from other clubs, and you know we're a massive club compared to Middlesbrough now, compared to West Ham. If we want
Mm.
their players, just go in and get them. You know, don't beat around the
Good
bush or
shout,
do
yeah.
anything like that.
Mm. There's a comment there, which is another player I would love to see us get, but I think it'll be tough because we're in Europa League. Alex Scott from Bournemouth. I think there'll be bigger teams in. I think Man United again, potentially
Yeah,
Chelsea, Liverpool. Because he looks like some player. He looked amazing at St James's Park as well when he came here with Bournemouth. So lots of players who we've been linked to, but it's that time of year and it's draining for me. I think it's almost as draining as the season when you see, oh, I get excited about him. He could be coming in, and then no, he's went somewhere else. I mean, oh, we might be selling him. I'm gutted, but oh no, he's staying. It's terrible. Can we not just talk about the World Cup and just forget about transfers for a little bit? It hasn't even opened yet. The window hasn't even opened yet.
We've got
Mental.
Kev there. It's in new member, Kev.
Yes, Kev.
Don't forget to renew. Any player coming from the Championship is considered a risk. But Boone, Ezzy, Elise, Semenyo, Tony, Wharton have all come from lower divisions.
Mm.
And that is, was I saying, look at Alex Scott. Came from Bristol.
yeah,
Alex Scott came
And
from
Jacob
Bristol.
Murphy.
And
You meant
and
Jacob
Jacob.
Waterbella.
Yeah,
Keeps him in the northeast. Cheers, Wazza.
Kev
And
was.
and the Kev comment was a great comment as well about how many players have been successful from the Championship recently. But again, if we're going into a massive season in terms of we didn't qualify for Europe on the back of a disappointing season, I think we need a mix, obviously. But I think we need at least two big-ish names and then the rest kind of around them personally. How many big names do you personally think we need in terms of not a superstar name, that's very hard to get, but a well-known, reputable, good first teamer? How many of them do you think we need?
If we're going to lose two big names, we've lost one already. If we're going to
Yeah,
lose,
yeah.
another one or potentially another two if Dino goes, potentially another one again if Hall goes, we're going to have to replace them.
Mm-hmm.
And
personally,
if we don't replace them, we're going to be in trouble.
I think this summer's all about the defence. You know, we're talking about an attacking winger with Gordon, but I think the big thing this season is rebuilding that defence.
Mm-hmm.
That's what needs to happen. It means a goalkeeper, at least one goalkeeper. It means potentially one or two right backs, a left back, and a couple of centre backs. So that's a big
Looks,
thing for me. Is you build from the back, and the big issue we've got is people can call out we're attacking players, but when you look at it, the big issue is the defense. We haven't got enough defenders
yeah, our
to get us
defense has
through
been
next
shocking
season.
this season. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think
We've got a damning condemnation here. Good riddance to Gordon. He down tools and upset the camp. Slacked off when it suited him. Sees us beneath him. He's a decent player when it suits him. He'll do well in Spain. He'll get more space. That's true as well.
Yeah.
I think you get less space because of the way Barca play, though. I think Barcelona normally dominate the ball. Some teams now in Spain do sit deep. I remember when I used to watch La Liga about 3 or 4 years ago, every team used to try and play. And I think we've learned a lot from the Premier League in terms of there is now some teams who still try and win the game, of course they do, but they will sit a little bit deeper and try and catch on the break. And I think Gordon struggles against teams like that. And I think you'll come up against a lot of games like that when playing for Barcelona because they will dominate the ball and it won't be that quick transition. I hate using that word, quick counter attack. I hate that modern football stuff. I've got a very small segment on that coming up, but yeah, I hope he does well, but I don't know. I could see it going either way with Gordon personally. Right, anything else transfer wise before I move into some very serious end of season awards?
We've got JT Fila here, or JT Fila, I'm not sure which it is, but welcome anyway. I'm saying welcome. You've obviously been in many times. We have to be pragmatic. Even the likes of Potnik, who I haven't seen any links with at all, but I did mention him a couple of times myself. But the top. If you're the top scorer in the championship, yeah, you've got someone about you, you know.
Mm.
So there's a
Have you?
one for
Because again,
sure.
Gale, he could be one of them. I haven't seen enough of him to have a valid
Yeah,
opinion. But
brilliant in the championship. But just
there is players who are fantastic in the championship, like Dwight Gale, like was it
well, Gyökeres, you know,
Robbie Earnshaw. Yeah. Gyökeres has done well in
Gyökeres
both.
knocked
But
him in Coventry and then went to Sporting, of course, and
yeah,
knocked doors
yeah.
out of windows there. Now he's at Arsenal, so
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think. I hope. I mean, I'm still quite positive about the summer personally, mainly because we have a structure above us.
exactly.
We actually have. I mean, it was criminal last summer. Let's be honest, going into a transfer window without a director of football, um, and actually without anybody above Eddie Howe, other than the owners. And that's not anything against Howe, by the way. He has to step up and do the job. He has to take that promotion temporarily and try his best. Of course, he does, but it's not. It's not part of being a modern manager now.
Well,
You're
it's not.
focused on coaching. You're focused on developing the players you've got, and obviously saying yes or no, hopefully, to players. But in terms of actually making the initial contacts and talking money and talking structure of deals, that's well above kind of what Eddie Howe should be doing. So we have structure. I'm a little bit positive for that reason, but
Well,
I hate this time of year in terms of
I think
we've got
rumours.
the
we've got
whole
to
Gordon deal proves that Wilson has put structure there in
Yeah.
regards to this deal's obviously already been in place. So he's obviously had everything in place for this, and I think that's a good sign for the summer in that he seems to be a guy that'll get things done. And
Mhm.
hopefully that's a sign of things to come.
Mhm.
I'm just laughing because I've just had a notification from the forum. There's obviously some high tech gadgets on the go here because apparently there's a 41-second clip of you now, Bokey, from tonight's show on the forum
Wow.
Wow.
to do with Bruno. I don't know which 41 seconds they've cut.
Oh, that's
Ooh,
quick.
You've been well and truly clipped, it would appear.
are people
That is
AIing me?
quick. Never know with AI. You got to be careful these days. Right. End of season awards. We're going to go through some quite boring ones. The reason I'm doing this, I did something similar last time I was hosting. I think you were both on actually. It was like yes or no questions.
Mhm.
And the comments like blew up. The comments went mental. Bolty's looking at the group, so I'm just going to keep talking. The comments blew up
You
on
keep
the
going, mate.
the comments blew up on the yes or no's, yes or no only, this only, this. So I think we'll get the comments involved again here. So Win, keep a lookout on the comments of some of the
Yeah.
answers. We're going to go through a couple of the obvious end of season awards to start with. One of them we already kind of covered last time I was on. Borky, very quickly before we move on, is there anything you want to comment on that video about what's in the group chat?
Lee, I think you're a great bloke, mate, and I love you putting videos up about us. I'm obviously live rent free in your head, mate. So
Oh, get him on. It's fight time. Right. First one, easy one, I think, but I'm just going to come to you guys and then I'll jump in if I feel like I completely disagree with something one of you says, but we'll see. Player of the season, easy one. Who's your player of the season win first?
It would be a toss up between Hall and Bruno, but
Mhm.
I think I'd just edge towards Bruno.
I was going to say you have to pick one, so you went Bruno, Borgie.
yeah, but I'm tempted to change my mind because of the chat, but no, I'll go Bruno as well. I think it was between Hall and Bruno, but I think the one thing to remember is as well, it's Bruno's never actually been player of the season for Newcastle. He's never got that from that accolade from the club. So
Yeah,
I think
he's getting it now.
his
He has now.
I think it's his time.
Not official, but see, so some people are commenting nobody this season. But you still have to have a player of the season,
That's a point.
right? You still have to have a player of the season. So Bruno's taken. I would go for Bruno as well. So that's all three. This one's a little bit more difficult. I think there's one obvious standout, but I want to get you thinking in terms of, who you think is most improved player, 25-26.
I'm going to have to say Asula for that one.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking more Miley. I was going down the lines of Miley here.
I would go Asula because, well, Miley hasn't really done anything this season for me that he didn't do last season.
I thought he was great at right back. I thought that was where the improvement, the tactical knowledge and understanding to play a different role at a young age.
Again, I think the accolades he was getting in the games that he played there, he wasn't superb. There was one game in particular I remember. I don't know who it was against, but we looked at his stats and he had 67 out of 69 completed passes, but there was only 3 of those were forward ones.
Oh.
And so that was I can't remember what the game was, but everybody's raving about it. And he had a great game. I'm not disputing he had a good game, but it wasn't all that. So, whereas if he'd asked me at Christmas, well, in fact, I was screaming at Christmas when Frankfurt came in with a £30 million bid for him. I said, get him on the bus.
Yeah,
get him
good
on
point.
the bus.
Well, all would have done that.
Yeah, everyone would have told him.
By God, has he proven me wrong? Because if we are
shows Eddie Howe knows best, right?
If
Keep
we are
a player like that.
if we're going to come on to goal of the season, I know what my goal of the season is.
I think Asula for me as well is. Do you know what the sad thing is? Or you having to think about this. You're looking through the team and you having to really think.
Who's improved?
Really, you want 2 or 3 or 4 players in your head, and you're thinking, who am I going to choose? But for me, it has to be Asula because there's nobody else really improved. And his wins sat here game after game and said, the biggest thing about Eddie Howe is he develops players, he moves them on, he brings them up to the next level. And we're struggling. We're struggling to see that this season in regards to players.
Bear in mind that what I also said in that regard was he takes bad players and improves them, and he's got a seriously good track record of doing that. It's slightly different when you're buying allegedly top draw players already.
Good point.
Obviously, the scope for them to improve is less than it is from people that you're buying for less money than that.
Yeah,
you're the guy that's sitting there saying that he develops players.
Well, he's developed Asula from an 11 million plus add-ons buy into a £60 million player.
But what's he done with Wissa and Langer? I suppose maybe that argument the other way.
And I'm arguing that we're paid top dollar for them. They're allegedly the finished article.
I think we need to have a full show on Eddie Howe in regards to actually arguing about him. I think we'll keep on Kev's point of going through what players have done this season.
Very quickly, I think both them arguments can be right. Howe has obviously done very well, making players we've watched under previous managers look like Champions League players, which we never expect to turn into. And also, there's a slight disappointment in terms of
international.
I agree with you, and I also think you can be right in terms of there's a couple of cases, not many, but a couple of cases where you do think, why hasn't that worked out? But I think that's a whole other pod, which, to be honest, please let me be a part of as a panelist, because me and Borky talking about Howe and Bruce on the last one, I can't believe that hasn't been turned into a clip. Anyway, a couple of comments here. People have mentioned Jacob Ramsey most improved. Do you think that's a good shout? I've seen Chow mentioned. Lewis Hall's been mentioned for most improved. Asula's a popular choice as well. Very interesting comments. Actually, was another one for Jacob Ramsey. What do we think of Ramsey? Is Ramsey maybe most improved? Has he got a shout there? Some of the comments are coming out with Ramsey.
Well, all I would say about Ramsey is he has improved from what he was shown when he first came here.
Mm-hmm.
But has he improved on what he was like at Aston Villa, which was why we paid the money for him that we did pay?
Yeah.
And he's definitely improved within the season, no doubt about that. But whether he's now better than what he was when he was at Villa is a moot question.
Ramsey is Magnolia paint. He's always going to be pleasant. He's always going to have a good game. He's always going to be, acceptable in what he does, but he's never going to get to that next level for you. So that was my whole argument with Wayne and Gary when we signed him, was that I said he's not a replacement for J7. He's a he's a backup player on the
Squad
bench, and
player.
yep, and that's a big problem with Ramsey. As I
Which
say,
is what he was bought for, by the way.
Well, it was, but he's a Magnolia player. He's never going to be the top level. So you have to accept that.
He was an upgrade
He's
on
a
Longstaff,
backup
wasn't he?
player.
I think is why he was bought. Longstaff went.
Exactly.
And I think he was
Was
brought
That
in
was
as
my point.
an upgrade.
Hang on, but was he an upgrade on Longstaff?
I think long term he will be.
How many different goals? How many goals did Longstaff score for? Were how many good games did Longstaff have for? Were every.
It's a longer test period. It's a longer test period.
It is a longer thing, yeah. But
longer
but
than
how many good games did Longstaff have for us? Now let me think.
Oh no, poor Sean.
Oh.
Poor Sean. He's going to be thinking for a while here. It was that semi-final when he scored
you
two.
liked Longstaff, you old bugger.
No,
You used to come on here and protect him.
I absolutely. His stats are phenomenal, but the difference when he was in the team, when he wasn't in the team, but I said at the time, don't ask me how, because I've got no idea what he does. But whatever he did was ineffective, because you just had to look at the results when he was in the team and when he wasn't in the team.
I must admit, I wasn't a big fan of Longstaff as a player, but I always defended him because he was one of our own, and I always kind of, I had that. I didn't know why. I didn't know why I was defending him half the time on previous pods I was on, but I just knew that I had to because I was like, hang on, he's one of our own. He knows he's limited, but like again, we I don't know. I got a bit defensive over Longstaff weirdly, but I didn't particularly think he was a good player. Super chat before we move on to the next award.
Yeah, what was I saying? They all rode the crest of a wave when we had, I think it's morals. Or morale, maybe.
Morale.
That's the other thing.
Morale's massive. I've said
that's
lots of
down to confidence to me as well. When you're winning games, it just
I've said.
Do you not think part of that, though, is sort of the morale that is what I say is a brilliant point. Morale comes from your manager sort of thing, and comes from you being bigged up, and I think that's again another slight issue. Is that you never really hear anybody any player at the club getting bigged up by the manager. You look back at like
the first 4 years, but the problem is when it's a difficult season, you can't then come out and big players up when you're losing loads because the fans will just be all over you, won't they? But it's typical Newcastle.
Yeah.
In terms
it's
of,
difficult. It is.
Why is he coming out and bigging up all these players? But we still haven't won. He's saying the same stuff. So the first 4 years, definitely, it was. DX is here. All right, break it down. Here we go. Dex, we're just in the middle of end of season awards, so I'm going to come to you for the 2 you've missed. But I do have another idea. Super chat. If you want to create an award, right, whether it's to do with panelists or players, super chat it. Win will read it out, and we'll give our answer on that award. You can create your own award tonight on NUFC Talk, right? That's special. However, DX, the 2 you have missed are player of the season for Newcastle United this season.
Probably go with Bruno Guimaraes.
That's 4 for 4. Well done.
Bruno.
Most improved.
Asula, probably. Asula.
Yeah,
that goes with Win. Bogey, is that Asula for you? And I probably agree as well. Yep. So 4 for 4.
Okay.
We did start with the easy ones, DX, so you've passed that one. We briefly mentioned this, and this is why this was kind of inspired from I think it was last night when I was on. Unsung hero. I'm going to go first just because I said it last time. Fabian Shaw. I always thought he was a good player. I always realised how good he was. But for me, the season started to completely unwind when Shaw was out. The defence fell to pieces. We conceded loads of goals. We couldn't distribute from the back. We had nobody who could distribute from the back. Botman tried to do the Shaw role of going into midfield and was too slow mentally to kind of make that decision, and we got caught out behind. So for me, unsung hero would be Fabian Shaw. I'm not going to put DX on the spot again. I'm going to give him time to think. Fabian Share, sorry, not Shaw. Living on a share. Win, who's your unsung hero? Get the comments coming in as well because the comments have been going flat out.
Big one, isn't it? With the season
just had. Trophy. Have you? While I'm thinking, I don't know if you can
Yeah, but I mean, we spoke about this yesterday, didn't we?
In a season like we've had, it's a hard.
I know
hard
Miley was
to
compute.
My most unsung hero at Newcastle United this season
Unsung.
would be the fans. The fans have been absolutely brilliant. So they have kept the team going.
Away fans,
the away fans, both away and home fans.
I don't know about home.
The biggest heroes for me this season are the fans, and
that's such a political answer. That's such a please vote for me later on.
I'm not going to pick a player because I don't think there's any player being a hero to me.
The chat we've got Chow. Chow's got to mention.
Chow's a good shout.
It's fairly sung, isn't it? People are singing his name.
Trips has got to mention. But exactly,
yeah, Trips was kind of past
Chow has been fairly sung.
Yeah.
so he's not an unsung.
Yeah. But could any of us sitting here, and if you were a young fan going to the game for the first time, sit here and say they're my favourite player, they're my best ever player?
Bruno, Tonali, Joe, Big Joe.
The only one I'm going for with unsung hero, the only one I can think of really is Miley, Lewis Miley, because I think maybe because he had the injuries, people haven't noticed it, how good he was in those games. Barnes is a distant second.
I might have Harvey Barnes in there somewhere, to be fair.
Yeah, DX has come in with some knowledge. What a late substitution that was, DX. He's flying
with a Hawaiian shirt, by the way.
I'm good. You missed the first 45 minutes, which was all transfer talk. You could have helped us out. And he's got a Hawaiian shirt on. He's flying.
Yeah, I'd better mix it up. You've got the what do they call that around the neck?
The Lear.
Pokey.
Look at that.
Pokey's taking it to another level.
Yeah. He hasn't got a Hawaiian shirt though, so he makes up for it.
Can I get a Hawaiian shirt to fit?
So unsung hero, we've got Barnes, Miley, and Shaw, which is
Walter Mortar in there.
Walter Mortar is it? The comments are blown up.
Ramsdale,
which is nice.
Shows in for
Ramsdale, unsung hero.
Really?
Ooh.
Hang on, what as a left fielder? What about Willock? Willock, when he's came into the team,
actually
done some good things. Has done some good things for her. Is an unsung hero because he's not loved by anybody. Let's face it. He doesn't. Eddie Howe doesn't love him. The fans don't love him. But when he's came into the team, I know poor Pellick. But when he's came into the team, he has done some things in games for her. So he is
still one of our best ball carriers.
Is he maybe a little bit of an unsung hero?
Look at that.
Jordy dancing. The lads are off to the powerhouse after this. Winners of VIP.
Yeah.
At the powerhouse, I think not.
I don't think powerhouse will let you on that shirt.
Wynn's got his own box in there.
Oh, one of my questions from there.
There you go. What was that? It's got us in. Who's the biggest wanker on the panel? Vote now.
Out of us four, was it? We're there. Out of us four.
How many times a week?
Or out of everybody. How many times a week, DX? That went underrated. That.
Right, we'll have to go with the fans on this. We'll have to go with the chat. Come on, who's the biggest wanker on the channel?
I think we can only go with people who are on the panel and can't. If people aren't here to defend themselves, so
yeah, I don't think we can go with people who can't defend themselves.
Yeah.
Well, that's the first vote for me.
Oh my God. Why did I open up Super Chats to create awards? We're in trouble. We have got that one coming up, by the way, because I've got panel ones. But very quickly, we covered match of the season, so I'm not covering that again. But I would like to go into goal of the season. I know Win briefly mentioned who you would go for, so I'll let you go first, Win.
Asula, Man United.
Man United.
Not just because it was a great goal. He finished it brilliantly. But the way everybody thought he'd blown it and fallen over.
He fell over, didn't he?
And then also what it actually meant. Winning that game with 10 men. It was just sensational.
There's a lot of love for Asula coming in the chats as well.
Yeah.
Not for us, but there's a lot of love for Asula.
Well, actually, Geordie Dan's put, honestly, none of yous are wankers. However, other fan channels, I agree. Cheers, Geordie Dan. No wankers on the... Hey, Gavin Fuller again. We're getting a bit of love here, lads. I like this. Well done, Walter. It wasn't Walter's intention.
Asula Manu.
To be fair, I think me and Win have got about 2 votes each.
Oh, there's another good show. Monkey Sputum, Bruno's Olympico, straight
Yeah.
from the corner.
I've got
Yeah.
one. I think the Voltemada lob was a good one, but it wasn't. The only thing was it wasn't an important goal because I think it was 3-0 at the time, wasn't it? So
Yeah.
I think
If I was picking a Voltemada goal, mine would be the Brighton one.
The Brighton one was a great.
The back heel. I thought.
But
that
again,
was
it didn't. I suppose the argument for the Asula one is it gained 2 points for us, whereas those 2 goals by Voltemada didn't really gain us any points.
Yeah. We've got ads in. He's got a super
He is
chat.
Bulky's fan club.
He's not looking for a wanger. He's looking for the most sensible, and he's voting for Bulky, his love child.
Thank you, Ad. Thank you.
Ad's has been a superstar this season, hasn't he?
He has.
That's for you.
He's unsung hero. Ad's unsung hero. My goal of the season was actually in a loss, but I just loved how we scored this goal against the team we scored it against, and it was Barcelona, the first game in the group stage. In terms of a team goal, winning the ball back, 3 or 4 one-touch passes, early cross across the box, and Gordon taps it in. Scoring like a tiki-taka move against Barcelona, for me, was just... I know it didn't mean much and we lost the game, but it did give us a little bit of hope. That moment of, oh my God, with 7 minutes added on, we've got a goal back. But then the problem was Barcelona was so good, we didn't even touch the ball after that. But as a goal, aesthetically pleasing, I don't think there was... I mean, Asula was an individual strike. As a team goal, I don't know if there was one better, which is quite sad to think, really.
One of the... Was it the second goal against West Ham at home just recently? That was fabulous. Started off with trips.
The Asula goal.
Trips in front of me, and then it was moved up about 5 passes in bash. It was a fabulous goal. That.
It's an interesting
I think
Sorry.
it would be the Asula goal for me against Man United. Simply down to the fact when we were sitting watching it. I remember people know I don't like doing match days because I lose concentration on the actual game, and you start, looking at the wrong sort of things during the game. So I'd like to watch the match, like not on my own, but like with mates and stuff, rather than being on the channel. But you watch Michael. I did that game, and you watch Michael and Chris. And they were both taking the piss, and I was as well. Him running down the wing, they were like, "Oh, look, he's like a Bambi on ice. He's like a donkey and stuff like that." And then he started cutting in, and I thought to myself, "This could be something special here if this scores." And if that had been any other player, I think you would have probably have been talking about it for years to come.
I think
because it looks because it looks so clumsy, it was sort of a strange old situation, but I think that's the type of player Asula is. I think that's what we're going to have to get used to if we're going to play him up front in the future. He's never going to be an orthodox sort of runner. He will fall over, he'll trip over on his own legs and stuff like that. But sometimes he just does something special.
Yeah. I'm going to cut out a couple of obvious awards because there's like best signing and stuff, but I think we probably all agree it's Chow. So I'm going to move on to kind of some of the silly ones. Head loss moment of the season. This is something where you literally could not help yourself but to react emotionally rather than sensible. Now, I've been on this channel a while now. I think most people probably know I try and be calm and as balanced as I possibly can be, but there is moments where I just think, how on earth can you say that? Mine was probably the first bite Bulky ever got out of me was last night when I was like, you cannot compare Howe and Bruce. That almost made my head fall out. Somebody sent it to us, one of my mates at work, and there's a period I've got my T-shirt over my head, and I think I'm just biting the T-shirt to be like, this isn't a serious thing. Surely I have to actually like stay calm on this. But I know you guys will have better than that. So what are your head loss moments of the season this season?
Well, I know what mine is.
I know what mine is as well.
Baltimore's own goal at Park.
Mine was win before the season started, dragging me and Jeffers onto the channel. I'm going live, no matter what you do. He obviously had a few drinks. I can't even remember what we were arguing about now, but we went live arguing with each other. And it was one of the funniest shows I've ever done. It was sort of...
I can't remember that. We've got a couple of super chats. So, Gaza, thank you. The best bloke on the panel is Win, and he talks sense as well.
Win's got an award, best bloke.
I've got the best and the worst.
Here's a bloke. But,
That's typical Newcastle opinion. What they're saying, Borky looks like an extra from Hawaii 5-0.
Hawaii.
Hawaii 5-0.
Hawaii 5-0.
How we is always my stance, get how we.
Oh, Hawaii,
No,
man.
that's
Hawaii, man.
going to be the name of the that's going to be the name of the new road leading up to the new St James's Park. Hawaii.
Oh, beautiful. DX,
Well,
what was
how-
your head
how
last
we-
one before they start arguing about Eddie Howe again?
Well, I reckon from a player's point of view, it was when Gordon got the red card against Liverpool. and he
Oh,
was
good
running around like a
shout.
lunatic.
That was
Yeah.
stupid.
But from my point of view, I think it was when I was watching. So I can't think of one on the channel where I've really lost it. But I think when I was watching us play Brentford and Dan Burn was getting torn and whatever on the side by their winger, and he should have been sent off. Should have been a penalty. We got away with it, and then Eddie didn't take him off, and he could have taken him off because we got it overturned. We got away with one there and left him on, and then what happens? 5 minutes later, the same thing over the top, ball over the top, runs it behind, same foul, same penalty.
Red
This
card.
time it is, and we lose the game. So I think that one for me was like I just couldn't get my head around it. I thought, what? I don't
Definitely
understand.
up there.
Do you know when the most disappointed I've been this season was after the Chelsea game? The Chelsea game at home when we'd went 2-0 up at home.
Oh,
Yeah.
We'd been playing really well, and
Mhm.
everybody went into half time that game thinking we're going to go on and score 4, 5, 6 here.
Did, yeah.
We went up 2-2, and it was that. I think that was the most
That was a Charles slip. wasn't it?
disappointing. Yeah, and it wasn't a loss. We got a point, but it was just so disappointing after the way we played in that first half.
And
I think
even,
it's maybe the story of the season.
even
It
the
wasn't
even the Chow slip didn't compare with the fact that when we were winning 2-0 and Gordon went through, he's in the box and he got just completely taken out. The red card all day long and a penalty, and we didn't get it.
Yeah, that was Chalobah as well. I
Chalobah,
remember when I was there live. I was like, that's got to be given. That can't even be questioned. And then it went to VAR, and they were
I
like,
ran
no.
down to the concourse, looked at it again, and I just came back and sat in my seat. I said, it doesn't matter. It's a penalty and a red card. There's no doubt about it at all.
Mhm.
And then by the time I got back up, they were still deliberating.
VAR for me.
This is
VAR
why
actually
VAR
just causes-
ruins the game.
VAR just causes head loss. Even if it's not Newcastle related, VAR just causes head loss for me. I think if you slow anything down, it looks worse. I think if you look for something, you can always find out. You've got to watch it in real time if you're going to look at anything. How long it takes to decide if somebody's offside when I can tell from one look blows my mind at times. But I'm not going to go into another head loss now because of VAR, because the season's finished. And we're all wearing Hawaiian shirts. We're on our holidays, right? We're not going down that route. So
I just think, I mean, we're going to do a show on VAR.
We are going down that route.
But the VAR, two things. One, it's nothing about with VAR, nothing about the principle of VAR. It's the way it's being used and the people that are doing it.
Yeah.
And two, the only way you get around everything is to introduce a challenge system.
I've got lots of strong opinions on VAR, so get me in for that one, please, or get me on as an extra. Next one. He's not as good as he thinks he is award. Who this season have you genuinely thought?
Gordon.
It's going to be unanimous, this one.
Attacking Gordon instantly. He's off to Barcelona.
Yeah, he's not as good as he thinks he is.
No, it's not as good as he thinks it is.
You've got to back yourself up, don't you? I don't know.
I mean, who else?
He doesn't turn up. He doesn't turn up against little. If you want us to back myself up, he doesn't turn up against little teams. And if he's not playing well and he's not having a great game, he sits on his arse and just looks at things that are going on around him. Gordon, 100% for me is the.
Wissa is coming in with comments. Someone's put Eddie Howe as well.
What about Tino? What about Tino as a little left field one?
Tino is somebody I was going to go with because I think you're delaying signing a new contract, and I'm not sure. I think you're a very good fullback.
Yeah.
But we can get better, and we could replace him with good money. So Tino is a good shout.
I think
Tino never gives up, does he? He's not a player that gives up in games.
Hang on, I think this one's one hand down from Gromitoon. Chris. Savannah. the referee, the Aston Villa referee.
Yeah, fair play. I don't think we can argue that one.
Nice one.
Yeah. It's tough to think of anyone else because I don't think this is necessarily an arrogant player. I just think he's had a bad season.
Yeah.
I don't think he goes around sort of like, oh, I'm better than everyone. And
Yeah, I'm a baller type thing. Yeah.
yeah,
I think Tino is a really good shout. Personally, if it's not going to be Gordon,
Do you think Tino's in the same bracket as Gordon? Or I don't understand Gordon. Tino doesn't always give what you say is 100%, but I don't think it's out of the lack of caring. I think it's out of the lack more of his ability sometimes. Whereas I think with Gordon, he can give more, but he just chooses not to at times. And that's really the question you're asking, isn't it? Who Gordon chooses not to do it. Tino isn't good enough to do it.
yeah. Could we throw Botman in there? I don't know. That's a bit of a
Well,
the
I tell you what,
problem,
DX is on fire. DX is coming late, right? But he's stole the show here. Botman's a great shout. Why didn't I think of Botman?
Yeah. But the problem with Botman is,
Tonali in the comments. There's a couple went Tonali.
And that's where I'd be going. But with Botman, the problem with Botman is because the question is he not as good as he thinks he is? Botman, for me, the question is not as good as the fans think he is.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%.
Hang on.
No, you hang on. I don't necessarily think he thinks he's better than he is, but the fans think he's better than he is.
But you look at the last few games of the last season, him and Chow together in the centre of defence were brilliant together. There was mistakes, and there's always going to be mistakes by footballers. There's always going to be them. But them two were really, really good together. Botman is a good defender. The problem is you don't like him because he's took Burns' place. That's your big problem with Botman.
I don't have a problem with that at all.
I think he's a good defender, but I just think sometimes we look at him and think, oh, he's a world-class defender, and he's not anyway.
He hasn't even getting the
he hasn't even been capped. He's 26. So he's not that phenomenal, but he's good. He is a good player.
He's had a canny player in front of him to try to get capped, hasn't he, to be fair to him?
I think Dan Burns is an underrated player by a lot of.
No, I mean at international level.
If we're going to have that, have you got that one on your list, Kev? The most underrated player, because Dan Burns is definitely there.
Well, I did have the way I wrote that one. I think I skipped by it. Let me just go back up. I put that one is he's actually class, award or ENR. He's actually class, with an award.
Class,
in terms of underrated, but I skipped past that because we kind of went with underrated earlier on. I think it might be a similar answer, so I didn't want to go into that one. But Dan Burn gets an honourable mention for that one.
I think Ramsey's a guy who's definitely, his injuries have undermined his actual talent and his ability, and in the games he has played, a lot of them he's done very well. So that's someone I like.
Do you think Dan Burn would be as much thought of as he was in a Geordie? You think it's that again, that little bit of sentimental thing in your head that because he's a Geordie, you love him sort of thing?
No, I think
his performances have got him into the England team.
Yeah, his performances have justified it. When you look at someone like Paul Dummett or somebody of that ilk or Longstaff, they never really got much love, did they? And that's justified on the fact they weren't that good, really. But Dan Burn is, I think for us, he's been really good. For Brighton, he's very good. Yeah, he's not technically a world-class player. It's not like Philippe Albert's comeback, but solid, very solid.
Right, we're unfortunately running out of time, so I'm going to move on to some panelist ones now. I'm going to stay away from the one who doesn't talk much sense because we'll be attacking people who aren't here. Maybe that's one for a big family one. However, I've got a couple of panelist awards. So let me Google that award. Now, this is for somebody who always kind of says something and you think that can't be right and you have to Google it because they're trying to justify their point so much that they could be lying. So let me Google that award for the NUFC Talk TV goes to who this season win.
You've just said it.
I was asking win who he thinks. I wasn't saying it would win. Oh, bugger.
No, I would say our Lord and Master without a doubt because he comes out with some trash.
Chris gets that one. We have to Google what Chris says. We're not believing it. Bogey?
The problem is when they Google what I say, then fuck me, he's right.
Bogey, who gets this award?
For the person that talks the most rubbish on the channel.
Pretty much. That's a quick way to do it.
Do you know what I've got to do? I've got to say it's probably me because I do absolutely no research before I come on here.
It shows.
You know, I know, and I think that's what frustrates people is because you know I don't know a lot, so it's me. I talk the most rubbish.
Was has created a new award?
Who would get the most kisses on a kissathon? Well, I think Teena'd walk away with that one.
Yeah,
Ooh.
probably.
Oh, there we go. Win and Tina have a thing going on. Nice to know.
Yeah,
Hang on. I don't know on that. I think DX would get a canny few.
DX looks like that. DX looks like that holiday rep.
All the female.
That holiday rep who just gets around every single person.
That's just my head.
He's a handsome bastard, DX.
I know.
I think Kev would be second.
I'll take second.
Yeah, it'd probably be me.
I think Jamie would be up there with the hunks.
I'll take top three if Jamie goes in. Yeah, I'll take top three. We need girls in the commentary to get comment that three of DX's.
But the reason I'm saying Tina's won it easy is because obviously there's a lot more men, and that's my heterosexual stereotype coming to the fore.
I'm not going to go down that route. I'm opening the right can of worms here. DX, the Google Award. Who are we having to actually double check?
Really struggling with that one because I'm trying to think like maybe it's because, but for different reasons. Gary, but not because he talks rubbish because he doesn't, but because he.
I'm sorry.
Because he says stuff where I'm just like, wow, that's so much detail that I don't know. So then I have to I'm not that I Google it. I'm just like, wow, I didn't know that. Like. I'm trying to dig myself out of this. Yeah, he just says stuff that's like, wow, that's deep.
I think Gary goes into so much detail. Sometimes you have to Google it because you're sitting there thinking to yourself at times, I've got no idea what you're actually talking about, sort of thing. So I get what you're saying, DX. It's not that he's getting things wrong. It's that he's so particular and so detailed in what he puts across.
Yeah. I know I'm going to have to move on.
Not like you as a host, Kev. No, like that.
No, I'm not that good.
Just an interesting comment from It's About Time there.
Very, very quickly, I had loads here, but I'm going to have to move on because I know the late show's coming and I've got a couple of yes-nos I want to go through again. But the ones we're going to come back to, if you're watching this now and you want to know the rest, we're going to come to the Mute Button Hero Award, Goldilocks Award, the Devil's Advocate Award, which I think we all probably agree is bogey. Hot Take Extinguisher Award. There's loads, but we'll come to that next time I'm hosting. Very quickly, I want to go through just a couple of things before we do hand over. And I guess you've got to answer. You're going to answer one answer, and you're not going to justify it at all because we haven't got the time. The first question, and you can only say one player Newcastle will sign this summer. You are confident they will sign him right now as we speak.
The actual player or the position?
The player.
I will say I'm just going to go for the one I hope we finally nail down, which is James Trafford.
Oh, okay.
Get that deal done.
Nice. Win.
Well, I would like to say James Trafford, but I think it'll be the French goalie.
Okay, French goalie. Bogey.
Trafford for me as well. I think DX is right, isn't he?
Trafford's the one. Right, DX isn't going first because he's on fire this evening. He's been unbelievable since coming in late here. One shock exit, which will happen this summer. Win.
Shock exit.
Shock exit, not a Gordon because we were expecting that. Potentially not a Tonali because we're expecting that.
Tell you what, Jacob Murphy. There you go.
That would be a bit of a shock.
That would be a shock, yeah.
Bogey.
Win to TTR.
Leaving the channel. I tell you what, someone's put Gibbs White for somebody we should say much.
No, in all seriousness, I think the shock exit this season could potentially be Tonali. I still think there's fans that think Tonali's going to stay, but I think there's a good chance he leaves.
Oh, okay.
I'll I'll throw Asula's name in there just because I think that we might try and cash in on him to make a bit of profit.
Oh, yeah, I think that would be a shot as well after over kind of goal. The last one, I was going to say Trafford for this one, so I'll get your thoughts and then we'll hand over to the late show. One player linked endlessly with Newcastle but is never going to arrive. I would have said Trafford for this one.
As well.
Never going to
I would have said Trafford for this one, but we'll go to Borky first this time.
It is Trafford, isn't it? Potentially. I mean,
he's also the one we will sign for you. That's
fair enough. I'll choose somebody different. A player constantly linked with Newcastle.
But someone's put Kamara as a good shout. Ads actually, to be fair to him. Your mate, your fan club.
I tell you what, I'll go left field. Isak.
Oh, really? Coming back?
Endlessly linked.
Isak coming back.
What?
I really have no answers.
Well, because I can't think outside of Trafford, I'll probably just throw Elliot Anderson's name in because there was a little window where he would come in, but now it's just beyond our means, isn't it? We've lost him. We've lost him forever.
Hang on. The chat have got this right. Anderson. That's what I should have said.
He's just said that. Win, last one before we hand over to the late team.
I'm saying you and or whatever they call it, you and Yaoun or you and
Endlessly linked, but won't sign the French guy as well. What a nice laugh to end a lovely, lovely show. Thank you very much. You three have been amazing. You've entertained some of my more crazy ideas. But now is the time to hand over the Mr., as he's putting his name there, Jack Cunningham.
I don't know why that's happening.
Thank you very much. Show, signing off.
See you, Kev.
Have a good show, lads.
Have a good one.
Ta-ra.
DX, you staying or?
I'll stay for a bit because I came in a bit late there, so I feel like I want some minutes.
Sound well. Let's hit this then, Bosh.
Set up for maximum confrontation and super opinionated debates. The NUFC Late Night Show with Chris the American.
Right. Hello, welcome to the Late Night Show. It's me, Jack Cunningham, hosting. I've got Peter, we've got Win, we've got Ian, and we've got DX. And there's only really one thing to talk about when we speak about it a lot, which will be Anthony Gordon's £70 million move to Barcelona. It is basically a done deal. He's passed his medical, expecting that announcement tomorrow. However, I want to start actually with what on earth did I come in to? What was going on? I heard about, was it an awards show or something?
Yeah, we're finished off with some daft awards.
Right, fair enough. I was wondering what on earth is going on. I was hearing some wild shouts, but it was quite funny. And then Borky with the worst shout I've ever heard of saying, name a player who we've been linked with that you think we're going to sign. Isak. Have we been linked with him? have we been linked with him?
We were linked with him 5 years ago.
Borky has had a mare there. I think Anderson was a good shout. But yeah, we'll go all over the Gordon stuff because he is gone. I mean, I'm so surprised how quickly it's actually moved. The transfer window doesn't open until the 15th of June, but it is a done deal. He is gone. We'll look at a couple of replacements. And we'll also look at Yawen. I did have a look. That is the goalkeeper. I pronounce his name. It's Yawen.
Yawen.
Yeah, Yawen. So we'll have a look. We'll have a little bit of look at him as well. And Kieran Trippier is potentially going to Wolves, so we can have a little bit of chat about that as well. Yeah, potentially going to Wolves. Yeah, that's what Talksport understands. He's had discussions with Rob Edwards about joining Wolves, but we will go into that later on as Wynn got his brilliant hat on. Look at that. That's fantastic.
Two fantastic hats on the panel today.
Yeah, I don't know how hot it is in Newcastle, but it's been 30 degrees here today, which isn't actually too bad compared to Monday and Tuesday. It's 35 degrees, and I was dying.
Today, at first, I got absolutely battered under ping-pong-sized hailstones.
Oh, really?
And
we had those.
Yeah. First Market Square, covered in an inch of mud when all the moss off the roofs from the last few years got battered down and mixed up with this ice. It was incredible. Never been in anything like that before.
But was it still warm?
And it was so close. It had this massive storm, which took about 15 degrees off the heat, so it was actually quite pleasant in the afternoon.
Fair.
But yeah, I read in the collaborators part of the forum that it was flip-flops and Hawaii shirts, hence my outfit. But I realised That was for the 8 o'clock show, wasn't it? Not for the 9:30 one.
It's okay, we're still here.
No, so we're still in costume. What
Well,
they're saying, bloody
well,
Nora, it's
that's
Hannibal
daily.
Lecter Supermarket.
You'll believe it.
Well, yes. Right, should we crack on then? Should we talk about Anthony Gordon? Because it's the only real story, isn't it, in town? So, £70 million move. Well, I mean, to put it this way, 2 days ago, I didn't even know Barcelona were interested. And then here we are, 2 days later, and he has been pictured in Barcelona. He signed shirts with fans. It's been videoed. He's had his medical. Apparently tonight he's having a meal with Deco. It's all happened really, really quickly. So I think I'll start with DX. I mean, are you just pleased that it's actually getting done so early on in the transfer window?
Yeah, and I'm quite content with the fee and stuff. So what I read was 70 million plus 4.
70 million plus add-ons, yeah.
And then 15% of any profit if they do sell him on. So, yeah, I think it's important that we made some sort of statement. It's an outgoing, but it's a statement. Like, we're selling a player for big money, and hopefully that gives us a bit more room to wiggle, a bit more of a chance to buy what we need, which is going to be a hell of a busy window. I think it'll be an interesting window. I think we're going to have to do a lot of early business to get what we need. So, yeah, I'm happy that it's done. Thank you, Anthony Gordon. I think we've done all right out of him. He's given us some good stuff here and there. So it's obviously not a fan favourite, but I think probably got a bit too much flack in the end, really, for what he's done for the club. And we made a healthy profit.
No, we'll talk about his legacy definitely in a little bit as well. But I mean, Peter, do you feel like it's a case of mistakes learned from last summer where we, dug our heels in over Isak, we missed out on Ekitike, we missed out on Mbuemo, etc. All players who could have, João Pedro, all players who could have potentially come in to replace Isak, but no, we're adamant. We're like, no, we're keeping Isak. We're going to have Isak and another big striker. In the end, we know what happened. Do you think it's a case of lessons learned from that and just try and move it on quickly?
Aye, big time, because it's just totally different to how things were done last year. And it's one thing them saying that as well, that they've learned the lessons and it's going to be different, but we've seen actions now. They've actually done that. And I think it's really promising sign for the summer. I mean, with Gordon, I think it's a really good fee. I mean, look, he got his plaudits. Do you know what I mean? When he had that brilliant season, right, in his first full season, and he got all the plaudits in the world, and rightly so. So I think this season he did tail off. To be fair to him, I've always said that I think he deserves credit for the penalties because that does take bottle. And he showed a lot of bottle and he showed a lot of technical ability really to swap them away the way that he did because he was clinical. But I do think overall he tailed off. I mean, he seemed to slow the game down. Ironically, I felt a lot of games this season. It was strange, and I think he started to rely on the referee a bit too much for my liking. Going to the floor, trying to buy free kicks. He did put the brakes on a few games. I mean, Burnley, Everton, Palace, to name 3, where only he knows why he done that, but he did. He kind of put the brakes on and pulled out of a few tackles. So it's inevitable. He's going to get a bit of flack for that. That's normal. Bruno goes down too easy. I won't just say about Gordon. I think Bruno relies on the ref too much too often as well. But it's a fresh environment for Gordon. I think Barcelona. I can see him playing down the middle and doing well. But I think Newcastle, we've all said it. It needs a refresh. It needs new energy. And Gordon is part of that. I think it's a brilliant deal, providing that they are going to be proactive, spend that money wisely. But they've been proactive with this deal, getting them out. So hopefully it bodes well for future income. Hopefully.
Yeah, no, good point. I mean, Win, are you happy with the fee? First of all, because I think obviously there was talk probably at the start of the year, Newcastle were looking for probably closer to 100 million, but in the end, it feels like 70 million plus add-ons is acceptable to me anyway.
Yeah. Well, I think 70 million's about where he is this season.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but get as you said early on, get the deal done. Get the money in the coffers. Know where we stand. No fannying about like last season. Get the job done properly, professionally, and that's what appears to have been done. And but you know what you got to realise but Barcelona have been on their toes as well, because you know Bayern was a done deal just about, and they've just swooped in and you know done the deal. And I think Bayern would have still had him, and obviously that you know has reflected in what we've eventually received for him. So yeah, good job, well done all round. I'm far from happy to see him go, but uh, as with any player, if they're going to go, we've got to get the best we can for them, which we've done here. It's got to be done in good time, which has been done here, and yeah, power to the elbow, everybody involved. You know,
Yeah.
it's been a good deal by Ross Wilson's first major deal, you could say. So he's kind of proven himself there. He's got a good deal. We've got a sell-on clause as well, which we didn't get with Anderson or a couple of others. So yeah,
Happy days, yeah. No,
Happy
fair point. I
days.
mean, no, fair enough. And Ian, I don't know, are you sort of
Wynn's
feeling like...
touched.
No, go for it.
Wynn has touched on. Well, first of all, I think Gordon's time as an effective member of this Newcastle side was over. I think 2 years ago he found the space he needed to be wonderful because of his pace, and as the defensive blocks got deeper and deeper against us, that space wasn't there for him to run into. He needs some technical players to open it up, just like Barcelona have got in the middle of the park. We don't have that. I think he'll be fantastic in Barcelona. But Wynn touched on the best part of this deal, which is that he's going to Bayern right at the 11th hour, going, oh, I wonder if you would have a goalkeeper that you'd never thought of that we could chuck in and get the money knocked down. You snooze, you lose. He's off to Barcelona, and bollocks to you, Bayern. 24 hours ago, you thought he was your player, and he's now sitting in Spain having his medical. I think that sends a fantastic message
I was
to
very worried
all
that
the
hip
big
injury
guys.
might intervene there.
That sends a great message to who we're buying from, to who we're selling to, that we're bloody serious about it. I think great start to the transfer window. If we can get this young French goalkeeper, which apparently that deal is done, and we're in advanced talks with Kamara ahead of Liverpool, if we get those two coming in the next 5 or 6 days,
Well,
I think we've made a great start.
Look, Kamara is very much... I can see the French goalkeeper happening because he's coming in to be your number 2, essentially. But Kamara, I'll wait until he's actually standing there in a black and white shirt before
I agree, but I think you'll be impressed by how fast we're moving on it.
Yeah, and just it'd be great when Liverpool jump in and sign him at the last minute. Jordy Dan saying I'd actually love to know where he's got this from, because I've not seen anything like this. So if you could tell us, Jordy Dan. But Nottingham Forest made inquiries about the availability of Anthony Elanga. Newcastle exploring a possible swap deal in return. Is there any player for Nottingham Forest who we would like?
If they got fourth choice goalkeeper, pay too much.
Gibbs White is.
I can think of two players that I would happily carry Elanga to Nottingham for to get in return.
Well, yeah, maybe even 3.
I think you can forget Anderson.
I think you could add Murillo and Milenkovic to those two as well.
Murillo is very good. Milenkovic,
the centre halves.
A little bit limited, Milenkovic.
Williams, I think, is a good fullback.
Chris Wood.
Nico Williams, he's a good player. Nico Williams, he again. Nottingham Forest have got a great team. To be fair, look, I don't know. I'd like Jordy Dan to get back to us on that one. That'd be good because I've not seen that, so I don't know where that's come from. If it's some in the know random source, then we will obviously just brush over it. But if it's actually something serious,
maybe they think we could get him back on the cheap after what he's.
I'm pretty sure they think they can get him back for about 30 million, maybe less. So yes,
30 million.
Yeah, Newcastle would.
If I think I would sell him for 30 million.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think that
you're taking a hit, but
yeah. Well, if it's a swap deal,
you're getting these wages off your books.
If it's a swap deal and you could get them to just pump up the fee to 40 million, then that covers what's owed, doesn't it? And you pump up the fee on whoever we're buying. Let's say Gibbs White. It won't be Gibbs White because he'll go somewhere else. But one of their players, Murillo.
Yeah, Gibbs White. Yeah, Murillo's good. Gibbs White's a strange one because I don't think he'll actually leave Forest this summer. I think that No, I think he's actually locked into. He's a strange one. He's a player that a lot of teams already have positionally his like a lot of the teams who you'd think would be in for him have got his position already. So I think in the end, Gibbs White will just not have the options to move anywhere. To be honest,
Not Tottenham, they won't go back in.
they've got Maddison. They'll probably go all in on Maddison.
But
Even Maddison might go to Coventry, but also I think
think the,
Marinakis will actually just refuse to sell to Tottenham. Like I think there's just
I was just about to say, I think the
he
front
just
owner
refuses
seems
to
to
sell
have
to Tottenham. He hates Tottenham.
White under lock and key. So
He hates Tottenham, so I can't see that one necessarily happening. But I'll wait to see if Joy Dan gets to us back on that one. That's interesting.
Just on the subject, because you mentioned the word
Go for it.
Maddison there, would anybody
Yeah.
consider having Maddison from Spurs?
I just
not me.
don't think he can run.
Not anymore.
Like he couldn't run before he's had the ACL. He's a very, very talented
Technically,
I
footballer.
love him, really.
He's a very, very talented footballer,
not
but
fun.
he's got no legs. And even attacking midfielders now, even ones who are the kind of luxury player, whatever, usually got some legs, or they've got legs around them. I suppose, as I've said, Walter Marder is a 10. He doesn't really have legs, but he's got other qualities. Madison, I don't know. Also, there is question marks over him as a character. To be honest, like I feel as if, but it's an interesting debate. I do think Coventry will probably come in for him. I think because he is a Coventry boy. We don't know what De Zerbi. Yeah, we don't know what De Zerbi thinks of him as of yet. Just seen someone suggest Bergval. That would be more.
I'd rather have Bergval. I think he's Madison's nearly 30, isn't he? And Bergval's
Yeah, that would be
20,
more.
20.
Yeah.
Or Archie Gray can play 7 positions. I'd take him. But I don't think
the fact that Spurs have stayed up now.
Yeah, it makes it a moot point, really.
Yeah, it does, yeah. Geordie Dan's got back to us. The source looks a bit sketchy, and I think it's just getting retweeted. I'll get back to you, right? Okay. So it's a good start.
Somebody put someone up on the internet.
The source was a dream that Geordie Dan had.
The source was a bottle of Heinz, right? Class, right? Honestly, yeah. So, yeah, we obviously, I was in terms of transfers and stuff. We will talk about more of it when more of it happens. But I think we'll just get back to Gordon a little bit. How would you judge his time at Newcastle, Ian? What's his legacy at Newcastle?
Well, I think I had a look at it last night. He stuck around longer than Ginola or Robert. He scored as many goals as the pair of them added together. I think he was fantastic at that season before the Carabao Cup. He was really good in the run up to the Carabao Cup. Missed out on getting his medal, even though he was instrumental in those semis for us to get through to the final. And really, it's hard to judge last year, isn't it? I think Howe persuaded him to try centre forward. I think he's now fancies himself as a centre forward. That last season was
Barcelona are talking about him as a centre forward.
Yeah. It's one of the reasons I signed him is because he can play in 2 positions.
Yeah. So
I bet he'd have the right wing then, wouldn't he? If he could judge by Barca.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. But I do think that he switched to the middle because he had no opportunity for very much out on the left because when we were up and coming we had space. People didn't take us seriously. But once we'd qualified for the Champions League and done the cup runs and everything, all bar the top 6 are playing a low block against us, and that just took all the space away on the left hand side. I think he sort of was the man at centre forward and was going to take over from Isak, and he believed that, but he didn't have the performance to do that. And I think Howe believed it, and I think Howe has compromised 1 or 2 of our other squad players, Barnes and Voltemada notably, in order to accommodate Gordon's ego, and that's kind of tainted his legacy. But we'll look back on Gordon with great fondness. I think he scored some great goals. He's turned some games for us. He's played well in games in this recently finished season. If you pick the right games to look at, I was a big fan of Gordon. I think he'll go on to bigger and better things at Barcelona. We'll wonder where that came from when we see that he's holding his own in comparison to Yamin Lamal on the other side. I do think he's a good player.
Yeah, no. Do you want to go back to that super chat? Was it? I mean,
Yeah.
sorry.
Jack's,
Yeah, it's from Wazza. Yeah,
you got £100 million to spend. Which two players?
he's putting us straight on the spot there. I'm going Trafford for the goalkeeper, just because we've spoke about the goalkeeper situation how many times. He feels like a guaranteed win. And then I'm actually going for, because the right wing produced nothing this season. You'd only get 3 seasons out of him, but it'd be guaranteed goals and assists. I'm going for Jared Bowen, because West Ham have been relegated. I think you'd be able to get him for a decent fee. We've been linked before. He knows the Premier League. He works hard. He's a leader, but he also is guaranteed goals and assists. He is. So I'd go Bowen and Trafford. That'd be my 2. Yeah. So.
Do you think there's any chance at all of any of your chums? Because all the reports that I'm seeing are saying that Bowen is staying at West Ham and he's going to fight the good fight. And
Yeah, I think it depends on who gets out of. I think it depends on who gets out of West Ham first, I suppose. So Nuno looks like when Nuno is staying, which I think big up to him, to be fair. And then Matías Fernandez is almost certain to leave.
Where do you think he's going? Because he would be, if we can't get Bowen, he would be my number 1.
Matías Fernandez, he's a brilliant player.
Yeah.
I think PSG are leading the race. Manchester United also looking at it as well.
Right.
Manchester United also looking at Toon Army.
Forget him then.
Yeah, probably. Well, I don't know, not necessarily, because again, the midfield market is stacked, and it just depends it depends if that move happens quickly. He's not in the World Cup squad for some apparent reason, so there's that to consider as well. That means that he's not going to be in the world eye, I suppose. So you never know about Matías Fernandez. He might be one to keep an eye on. But yeah, Bowen, I still think he might go, just because it's his last chance to probably get one more move, realistically. And I think that a Premier League team like Newcastle, like an Everton, like an Aston Villa, could tempt him into making that move away from West Ham, as much as he's a legend there. West Ham fans would let him go with no real. I don't know, there'd be no animosity there. He scored their winning goal in the Conference League final. He's done everything he can this season to keep them up. They just weren't good enough in the end. So I think that there wouldn't be any animosity there. And I think Bowen, I could still see going. We'll have to see how the transfer develops. But yeah, I think that one's interesting. But going back to Ian's point on Gordon, I think that's good that he's got a positive view of Gordon's time. I'd say the overall view of the fan base is quite split on it. So, Peter, how do you look back on what's Gordon's legacy for you?
His legacy is a good one.
Yeah.
Overall, there's no doubt about that. Like, the impact that he's had at Newcastle, he's been part of that season. Even when he came in at the tail end of that season, getting 4th, he was part of the squad, and then winning the trophy last season. He played a big part in that. So, yeah, honestly, I mean, player of the season in his first full season. So, definitely, his legacy is really good. I don't think there's any doubt in that, personally. But at the same time, I do think that his time at Newcastle, it felt like it ran its course, especially left wing. I mean, left wing, it just seemed to fall apart a little bit. I don't think he was effective anymore. And he's, he's going to Barcelona, and you could say, well, Barca want him, so who are we to kind of say that we should sell Gordon? But it's a different environment, a different league. I think with Newcastle, as I said earlier, I just feel like he was going down too easy. He was relying on the referee too much, and he was worked out, I think. But up front, I think he done this season, as bad as what it's been this season overall, really, and as much as Gordon tailed off, he did do a good job up front for that mini spell where I thought his movement was good. He was coming short. He was stretching the defense. The defenders didn't know if he was going to come or go, so they didn't know whether to go with him. So yeah, I think down the middle is where he's gonna be for the future. But even though it ended a bit on a bit of a sour note, I still think overall his legacy is still a good one, to be fair.
Fair enough, that's good. Geordie Downs got back to us on Alanga quickly. So it looks like Alanga's story originated from everything NUFC on X, but they say it was from a Forest fan account. Right, okay, we're in silly season already, no worries. Right? Cheers for digging into it though, Geordie Dan. Do appreciate it. Thank you very much.
What I was going to say was, I'm not sure it's that sour a note, Howe's left Gordon out because Gordon's been up front. He said, "Look, I'm going. Don't know if it's Bayern or Barcelona. I'm going." And that's why it's happened so quickly, isn't it? Because with the blessing of the club, his agent was off
maybe
talking to
sour's the wrong word.
Barcelona last month. So it might have been difficult for us to swallow whilst it was unfolding in front of us. But if Gordon and Howe have had a heart to heart, and he said, "Look, I've got an opportunity to go to Barcelona. I want to take it," and Howe's thought, "Well, let's get that sorted out and get the cash in the first day of the transfer window is open," then they've worked together to get that done. There's nothing being put in the way of that deal, has there? Which means we're well into it. And that could only be because there's been cooperation on both sides. So, yeah, I don't blame him for wanting to go Barcelona or Bayern, to be honest. I don't think he owes us anything.
No. I just mean as in like his form wasn't great. That's sour is the wrong word. Yeah, just he's ended with Newcastle in a season where he hasn't really, he's split opinion. Let's just say that in his final season,
his performances have definitely tailed off, Peter. I agree with you. I mean, the worst part has been watching him sit on the bench and not coming on, and wondering why he's got a hip injury for 3 games, and then come back and not play. But I think that might all have been, hand in hand with Howe, without him saying that's what's happening, because we don't want
I agree.
Bayern to know Barcelona that Bayern are interested. So that, I mean, that's him still. Apparently, he's been training really well.
I think that was
I think he's been professional right through to the end with us.
I think that was Newcastle protecting him, knowing that we've got a big transfer for him coming up. I think it was a case of, well, Howe's comments were quite telling when he said I'm picking the team based on the future.
Who's going to be here?
Yeah, who's going to be here? And he just left Gordon out. I think that was kind of like, yeah, do you know what I mean? That was the end of it, really.
The only last slight footnote is, of course, that Everton will be getting a chunk of profit. Big profit that we're making on Anthony now, because he's only standing us about 12 million on the books. So
yeah, it's 3.6 million, I believe. So that's what
the difference between the 45 we paid and whatever.
So that's what Everton are going to get. Everton are going to get 3.6 million from the money. So not too bad, realistically. That's fine. DX, what did you make of Shearer's comments on Gordon today? Because they've clearly had a lot of beef this season, and it feels as if Shearer's questioned Gordon's commitment. Do you agree with that, or do you think that's just him being annoyed that he got called out live on commentary?
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it, that little feud? It's been very strange. I don't know, maybe it's because Alan Shearer's missed in Newcastle, and he would have put his sort of body on the line for the club and all of that kind of thing. So when he's seeing a player who's ostensibly not putting in the same sort of shift, maybe he feels like, this guy's sort of used the club. But if you remember, Anthony Gordon did an interview with Gary, I think it was Gary Neville, and he's walking along the beach a couple of years ago. Yeah, and he was saying, Anthony Gordon was saying, because he said, "Oh, you left Everton, and how did that come about?" And he said, "Well, I've always said I want to. If there's a better opportunity, I will go. I'll join. I'll take that opportunity. I want to have the best of my career and all of that." And I thought at the time, that sounds like he's not finished here. He's got to have other steps in his career. So I was never convinced he would stay for a very long time. But I think we've done well. We've got 3.5 years out of him. It was never quite the same after that Brighton red card last season before last. But overall, he's done enough to get audition for the big clubs, I guess. So, but yeah, the Shearer thing, I just think that's a bit of a storm in a teacup. I don't even know what Shearer said today, to be honest. I only know what he said before, where it was a bit of a spat.
Yeah, fair enough. No, go for it. Sorry, go for that. Yeah,
I think that what Shearer said was part of the reason that this narrative suddenly it grew like topsy, and all of a sudden all the fan base were picking up on every little thing that Gordon did.
It's not a bad show, that.
And I think if Shearer hadn't weighed in at the time that he did, when he did, that bandwagon would never have gathered the momentum that it eventually did.
The other thing I'd say quickly is, I just want to say that Gordon, it was a gamble of a signing at the time, because if you look at his record for Everton, barely scored a goal, 7 goals in 78 games, I think it was. and he didn't look like a goal scorer. He came to us. He was useless for half a season, pointless, and it was that the Euros that he went to, the under-21 Euros, and he was phenomenal. And after that, he really found his rhythm, and he became a brilliant player. Had a great pre-season and everything. So it was, when you look at it like that, and you think, well, it was a bit of a punt of a signing. Him and Ashby came in, and it was a bit of a gamble that window, but it worked out really well because now we've almost doubled our money on what we paid, and he's given us out of 3.5 years. You discount the first half year, maybe the last half a year.
Well, even the first half, he did his thing, but it's also testament to Howe's coaching, by the way.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But
I think DX makes a good point there. To be fair, sorry, go
for Toon Assassin saying, panel, say we have a good window and then get Europe at the end of the season. Do you think the owners will keep Eddie or take the view we can't handle 2 games a week? Well, we've discussed this at length, haven't we? Even me, I am Eddie Howe's biggest fan, and I've got no doubt at all that with 1 game a week next season, as we have done in both previous seasons when we haven't had Europe, will probably, inevitably get Champions League.
But then
the question remains, do you keep them on for the 2 games that are going to come next season? And I think, yes, you do, because there have been multiple reasons why in our 2 Champions League seasons we've underperformed. And, I had the injuries the first time and the whole start of the season this time, which was chaotic. And I think if you can get a fair wind and then the confidence comes back in the lads, I think we'll take off.
Yeah, do you know what? 23-24, we were absolutely flying in December. We beat Man United 1-0 at home. It was the game Pope got injured. And that put us 6th in the table. So we were playing the Champions League and we were still in the Carabao Cup. And in the Premier League, we were 6th. So we were actually doing really well in the Premier League at that point, even though Botman had got his injury and he was out. But then it was after that, all the injuries hit us.
Well,
White was out over Christmas.
We had 10 games in 30 days in December. Yeah. And in those 10 games, you only used 15 players.
Yeah, it was mental, yeah. Wiped us out over that festive period, basically. But yeah, I'd say they probably will keep him. It would remain to be seen if it's the right decision or not. The big one's next season. If we start badly, you've got to consider what's happening in 2026. If we start badly, say winless in 4 or 5, I don't think it lasts much longer than that, to be honest. I just don't, because I don't think the goodwill's there anymore. And you've got to then take account in the fact 2026 overall, that would be, so as I say we're winless in 4 or 5. That would be like 3 wins in 21 games or something in the Premier League in 2026.
I was going to ask Wayne why he's just assuming that Howe will be good with this 1 game a week, because he's just had the last 7 games where there has just been 1 game a week and he's managed a point a game.
Yeah, well, why?
Which is not.
I'm not looking back on the last 7 games. I'm looking back on his full body of work, and I'm also looking on the fact that hello, Tim.
Hey, Tim's in. All right, Tim.
We've got the Toon twins. Put that right, won't we? There you go. So no, because I believe in Howe, and I think he's not as bad as everybody says he is. And I know there's loads of valid reasons why you can argue that, and I know you've swapped sides, Ian, and you're perfectly entitled to do so. And as I've said,
backwards and forwards,
I've said, the board would have been well within their right to ditch him this year after the abysmal season that we've had. A lot of it down to his decisions, in my opinion. No doubt about that. But I just think the overriding reasons for this season is not Eddie Howe. It's other things wider and broader than that. And now that we've got everything in place, let's get this window sorted, say who's good. Let's get the unity back. The one thing that we had, especially when Amanda was here, everybody pulling in the same direction. And what a difference that makes. And then you start getting results, and then the confidence grows, and that's when you become unstoppable like we were in 22-23.
Make a very, very good point, Win. I think to be honest, for me, it's like both arguments are right. People who want how out are right, and people who want how in are right. Like there's so many things that went wrong that you can't really pin the blame on anyone. Really, I do think Howe was a bit lucky in the end. But Tim, we'll get you straight involved. Did you see that question? Did you see what that was about, or not? No worries. There we go. We'll get it up. There you go.
Say we have a good window and get Europe. Do you think the owners will keep Eddie or take the view he can't handle 2 games a week? I think if we did that, they would keep Eddie Howe. I don't see them in any position to sack him in that instance, because they're not sacking him now when they've got an out to do so, where a lot of people wouldn't complain about that. So if he gets to Europe, Eddie Howe, while there would be reservations at the time about his past in Europe, the momentum will be forward and positive. So I think they would still have a lot of unhappy supporters if they did that. So no, I don't think they would. But it is an interesting dilemma, isn't it? Knowing what we know about how the last 2 European campaigns have went under Eddie Howe in terms of juggling that with the league. So there is an argument maybe to do that if you're going to be ruthless, but that's the word, ruthless. And these owners are not ruthless right now with Eddie Howe. So I don't see them doing that, no.
Yep, I think that's absolutely well answered.
I tell you what I think could happen in the event that all that happens and we get Champions League next season. Fingers crossed, hope. And then we start the Champions League season again. And if then by Christmas, if we're floundering around in 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 maybe, then that might be the time that the owners will turn around and say, and not just the owners, the director of football and the CEO, and say, hang on, we have been here before, and decide then at Christmas time to make the change before the January window.
But I've got this feeling, I don't know if anyone agrees with this, I'd really like us to qualify for the Europa League because I think we could. What I've seen Aston Villa do is really
win it. Yeah,
you win a trophy and then you go into the Champions League, because we'd be favourites if we went into the Europa League. And I think that would be maybe a better journey for us. Although you want to be in the Champions League, we're not going to win it. So to actually have a chance to win the second European trophy and our second, that would be a really nice way of getting into the Champions League, I think.
I'm with you. I'm with you there. I think that's what football's about. It's about those European trips away. It's about winning a trophy. Like the Conference League, like everyone. Look, I'm sorry. Like I live in South London, so I saw it all last night with Palace. Like it's such a big thing for them. It would be a big thing for us as well. Massive. I don't care winning the Conference League. It would be a big thing for us.
Yeah,
it's a European trophy. It's a European trophy.
If you think about it, you go into the Europa League if you win that, right? So
yeah, you win the Europa League if you win that.
We'd be favourites for the Conference League. Say we won it, we'd be then favourites for the Europa League. Then we could win that and then go to the Champions League. So it's quite a funny way of doing it, but come 15th every season.
I'm absolutely with you. I'd be more happy with getting the Europa League or Conference League next year because I'm sorry, that's what
we could do with a few more trophies.
You can win those. Forget about the balance sheet and all this bollocks. Just football's about enjoying it and going on doing and watching your team try and win something. And that is what obviously the Premier League this season has not been anywhere near good enough. You still need to maintain a solid Premier League season while also trying to do that. But we're never going to win the Champions League, will we? Yes, Carabao Cup final, we got the Carabao Cup, we got the semi-final, and FA Cup, we give it a good go again, but we got beat by Man City. So
Peter, you were saying we were going to win it?
Huh?
Peter was saying we were going to win the Champions League.
Hey, I said we could win it. Of course you can. 90 minutes, anything can happen.
You can win it. Yeah, we could have won it. We were never going to. We could have done.
Yeah, maybe that was the word, to be fair. Could do.
I think those 7 goals might have... it put that theory to bed, that's for sure.
Don't get us wrong though.
I tell you what, when we equalised for us, when we equalised for a second time in that first half, I thought we were going to get past Barcelona.
I thought we were as well. Yeah.
So did I.
Yeah, not a great Barcelona team.
The whole match was brilliant.
Half-time team talk.
The whole match we were class. So but no, second leg just all fell apart. So
yeah, that was when our season ended. To be honest, that second half.
Yeah, absolutely.
From that point, we played well in one game. So yeah, That's where, yeah, played literally well in one game. So,
But you
This
think
again, this is where
not fun.
Eddie Howe was a victim of his own success.
Mm.
If we'd had the journey which DX was outlining there, if we got to the 22, 23, made the Conference League, and then win that, so get into the Europa League and progress steadily instead of going bush, Champions League and group of death, and as I say, I feel sorry for Eddie. I don't think he's had a fair wind ever since he's been here. He's always been fighting with one hand tied behind his back, and let's hope this is the start of him coming out with two boxing gloves on.
Yeah, that's one thing, because you need to see the fight from him, really, because he just looked pretty defeated by the end of the season, to be honest. I mean, they all did, to be fair, but he did look particularly just like his interview after the game on Sunday was just so flat and
It was as bad as the
concerned, wasn't it? It was just like, yeah, we weren't at it mentally. Well, why weren't you at it mentally?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, such a
what's that
strange
about? Like,
comment.
such a strange comment to say. Like, why weren't you at it mentally? Like, I know it's the end of the season and there's nothing to play for, but Fulham had nothing to play for either. There's still all those Newcastle fans have made that journey down to watch a performance, and we watched our 17th league defeat of the season. Same amount of league defeats as Spurs. So,
Yeah, I do think that the summer, going into the summer, that there does seem to be the stability there with Ross Wilson and Hopkinson, and by all accounts have done a lot of groundwork and a lot of planning. So I think Eddie Howe has that basis this summer now to also go on holiday and switch off for a bit. He needs to do that. He needs to just have a break and mentally switch off himself so that he can come back with that fire in his belly, because he's admitted himself, hasn't he, that that's one of his weaknesses, is that he can't switch off. And
I was going to
so
say,
he needs to do that.
Somebody asked him, "Are you looking forward to it?" He says, "No." He says, "I never ever switch
Yeah.
off."
Yeah, but he needs
Yes,
to.
right.
He needs
Right,
to, and he
looks-
can now. He
I
can.
know.
That's the thing.
He
We've
does need to
things
switch
in
off.
place. Yeah, we've got things in place now this summer, and I do like the positive signs so far in how quick we've acted. So that actually does give me a bit of confidence going forward. And if that can dovetail with Eddie Howe and kind of what he wants, but also him evolving as well, and also giving him that fire, like I say, in his belly to go, you know what, we can go again. We've got a new set of players here. We can evolve. Then I think come the start of the season, like you say, Win, that unity can come back. No doubt it can. We know football can change so quickly.
Yeah, good point. Tim, to be fair, just quickly get your view on Gordon. Happy with the money, and then also what do you think his legacy is on Tyneside?
Yeah, I think it's a really good deal, and I think for that price that we've got, I think it's a really good one. When I think you consider Anthony Gordon is put in the bracket of a high-end Premier League player, I think with that in mind, he's been underwhelming for 2 years. So to get that money, I think is spot on, and to get it done quick is brilliant. Like I say, the getting stuff done early. And I think his legacy, I think he was really good, obviously, in his first full season. But I think since then, between him and Eddie Howe, perhaps, he's tried to evolve into a slightly different player, more of a cultured player, perhaps. And I think that's negated some of the qualities that made us buy him in the first place, in terms of being that spiky, aggressive winger who's in your face and doesn't give you time on the ball. And is a bit snarky, and I think to move away from that didn't help his game, where he's not going to be gliding in and putting goals in top bins all the time. To me, I don't see him being that player. But look, he's obviously a good player, and he's obviously got potential, and Barcelona will think they can get that out of him. And he might, you know what, he's playing at Barcelona, he's playing with quality, better players than us, so he might well kick on, and he might become, a really top player. But even with that in mind, it's still a great deal, because that's with them. That's not with us. And right now, I think, like a lot of players, I think he went a bit stale. But yes, some memorable performances. I'm not going to forget that. Some of the performances were brilliant, especially in the League Cup as well against Arsenal. That sticks out in my mind.
Yeah, no, fair play. I think what's interesting about Barcelona is I think they've just got a Wonga loan out, because they're going to sign Julian Alvarez as well, and in for Bernardo Silva. So suddenly they've got a load of money, splashing the cash, But let's have a look at Gordon replacements. So it doesn't have to be players we've even linked with or not, just sort of who you would kind of want to come in. It can be players we've linked with it. It doesn't have to be. It can just also be players that you would want to come in and replace Gordon. Thinking about either what you want from Newcastle's left winger, what you think Newcastle should evolve into, or what you maybe think Howe would go for. So start with Ian, Gordon replacement. Got anyone off the top of your head?
Well, I'm going to be rather dull. I think that between them, Ramsey and Barnes can tie up the left wing position.
Oh, so not signing left wing, not signing left winger.
I want to see. I can never get his name right. I want to see Park Si Sung Park, the Korean boy.
Yeah,
as a third choice coming
Park.
on for 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
Sung Soo. Everybody
Him.
knows one.
I want him to be a first team player, and let's see what he can do, because I've seen so many little clips from when he's playing in the under 21s. He's a very, very skillful player, and Barnes and Ramsey would cut in. That might help with a more technical approach rather than it being wingers and crosses and everything. But if you need to change it up, then the Korean lad can go past the fullback and put a cross or two in. He was doing it in pre-season last year when he first met his teammates and got chucked right in. I don't think he looked that out of place. But I think that's not, with Ramsey and Barnes in the squad, it's not an area where I think we need particularly to strengthen.
Right,
certainly not when that. Where does Sanusi play? Is Sanusi left or right as well?
Sanusi's left winger,
yeah. So we've got two really, really top dribblers in the under 21s.
Okay.
I would spend the money elsewhere.
Fair enough. Cheers, Ian. Cheers for sitting on the fence. Right, now he's right. DX. How you doing? Come on.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I'm just trying to think of Chelsea signed a player from Dortmund, but I don't know if he was
Gittins.
Yeah, did he play last season? I'd never.
Yeah, he got injured, and the Chelsea fans do not like him.
Oh, right. Is that because there was a player a couple of seasons ago that I did like the look of, Bakayoko, but he Johan Bakayoko, but he went to Leipzig, didn't he? And I don't think he's had a very good season at Leipzig, so it could be another Diaby situation, Diaby at Villa, where maybe just going to a slightly different level, he hasn't quite found his feet. It's difficult. I mean, the thing is, I would love a Solano type winger, but on the left instead of the right. Someone who could chip in with a few goals, clever on the ball, technically efficient, proficient.
A winger, basically.
But an old school winger, somebody who's like, and someone who can take a set piece, because we've got nobody really who's very good at set pieces. And I'm struggling because even the names that I remember, was it Nusa?
Nusa, Leipzig.
But he never scores a goal, does he? He doesn't.
I don't know what his goal scoring record is, to be fair, but
so there's no one. I think wingers in general, there aren't that many great ones around at the moment. Like when you look at Arsenal, they've got this abundance of wingers. Eze is very good, but Madueke, is he great? So I couldn't name beyond the ones I kind of know that haven't done that well last season. Like Gittins, I've thrown out there, but you've said he's hating.
Chelsea fans aren't the biggest fan of him. Tim,
because Chelsea pay tens of millions of pounds for other teams, Park Su-sungs and Sanusis, and bring them in, and because Chelsea have bought them, you think they're going to be fantastic. And actually, when they're not, that's really to be expected. That's why they buy so many kids, isn't it? They get one or two gems that come through. For every Cole Palmer, there's half a dozen that just disappear off after 2 seasons.
Chelsea's recruitment model makes no sense at all. It might change a little bit this summer, Jabi Alonso, but I'll have to say. Tim, you got anyone off the top of your head?
Off the top of my head, Somerville from West Ham comes to mind.
Yeah, good job.
I think he's pacey, he's direct. He does come inside, so he's not the winger like you're saying DX in terms of old school going the outside, but he has got that dribbling ability. I do agree with Ian. You've took the words out of your mouth that I've been saying for a little while now, and that I think Barnes and Ramsey could be enough if you have not a limited budget, but you need to spend a lot of money elsewhere. I would be spending that in other areas first, and then if we have to look at left wing, okay, so be it. But maybe Barnes and Ramsey can get you through, and you can invest in a centre midfielder maybe if Ramsey's going to be on the left. a bit more often. And like you say, Park can come in. But if I have to plump for somebody, I do like the look of Somerville. He's not how high his ceiling is. You know, I don't know, maybe not the top end, but I think he's a good player. Put it that way.
I think that's a really good shout.
Yeah, it's a good shout. Yeah, Somerville is a good shout.
When West Ham were buying Somerville from Leeds,
yeah.
This lad Nonto was neck and neck with him as to who was getting on first, who was first choice, and Nonto's still there, and he still sits on the subs bench and comes on and looks good. So that might be a much cheaper option if you,
Newcastle also looked at Somerville as well. I remember before he joined West Ham, he was on the list, but in the end, we didn't sign him because at that point we had about 5 different players who could all play on the left, so we decided not to. So it made sense. Win, have you got anyone off the top of your head?
Well, I've got a
go for that, sorry.
Yes, you're describing Grealish, my old son, on the left wing. And
Grealish is a good player, though. I mean,
Grealish is a very good player.
If he costs I'll take him on for Peter. Rashford is a good shot too. If you cost 20 million.
We actually did discuss this earlier on, and I said Somerville in the earlier show.
You said Somerville, yeah.
Yeah, okay, but I also do agree with both Ian and Tim that left wing is not a priority for me at all. Right wing, on the other hand, is a priority.
Yeah,
for me, that's where we're, unless maybe Asula could give it a shot there, but which I would have liked to have seen at some stage and didn't. But right wing for me, we've got to get a right winger in.
Yeah, I agree. I think the problem with the right wing is that both of them, apart from the lack of end product this season, which is one thing Murphy's actually been consistently very good at, they both can't keep the ball. We just lose the ball every time it goes down the right wing. They can't pass it inside 5 yards. Remember when we used to be able to do those triangles down the right hand side with Almiron, Longstaff, and Trippier? Yeah. You can't do them if the right winger can't pass the football, which is the problem. Was it Grealish on the left, Bowen on the right? Oh, I'm not against it.
or even let's go the hog. Let's have Bowen on the right and Somerville on the left.
Yeah, I'm not against.
Get them both because they'll know how each other play as well.
Tony makes a good point underneath though. Grealish, if we can keep out the pubs, yeah. Grealish and Newcastle.
Keep away from the
that might be. That might not go down too well.
It didn't stop Venison having a fabulous career here. Yeah. He was never out the pub.
Really?
Grealish even went to the Washy Working Man's Club a few years ago. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, he did.
I go in there quite often. But yeah, so yeah, Peter, you got anyone off the top of your head? We've had Somerville twice, and then also actually the left wing is not important, which I can kind of see. I like both.
Well, Timmy, you stole me thunder there. Like I was going to say Somerville, as well. But I mean, Ian's right about the left side. Like, yeah, Ramsey and Barnes. It's not a bad left-hand side. I mean, we'll see what happens with Barnes. If he stays or not. I think if he goes, then my word, we do need a left winger. Then I think
we don't want to sell him. We don't want to sell Barnes. He's the best.
No, I hope not. I hope not.
And I mean, he might just elevate him if he's not constantly battling for the left wing position because Gordon's gone. That might actually elevate him just in terms of having that confidence. I don't think we've seen all of Barnes quite yet. Flashes, that's all.
Yeah,
but we have been linked. I did actually say a link with Jadon Anthony from Burnley.
Oh, that'd be a shocker, wouldn't it?
Jesus. I thought Marcus Tavernier was a bad shout, but Jadon Anthony.
Marcus Tavernier.
Oh my God! Yeah, he had an okay season for a dreadful side. I'm sorry, that would no.
Do you know whether did Burnley actually sign him or is he?
They signed it. Yeah,
they did sign him because he was just on loan originally. Wasn't
he? Because I think it was a loan and then it became an obligation to buy when they got promoted. So yeah, so he's their player, but no.
But I've seen credible links to him from the likes of Craig Hope and Lee Ryder,
Jordy Dan.
Wow.
But you see, some of the names we're talking about, we're assuming that it's 4-4-2. but it'll be dead interesting to see, will Eddie play 4-4-2 or will he go back to the what I call 4-5-1? I know people say 4-3-3, but yeah, Rashford's been mentioned, and just in the comments there, and yes, Rashford would fit that left-hand side, but only in if it's the 4-5-1. I don't think you would play a left-hand side 4-4-2. That's my feeling on that. I hope Eddie does stick 4-4-2. Stick to that. And yeah, therefore, if he does, I think Ramsey and Barnes, it's not bad. Not too bad of a left-hand side. I think right wing, I think Bourne's a really good shout, Jack. Could Bourne maybe play left?
He could, but he could. I just think you're limiting then how good Bowen is. Then
we've got it.
What is Bowen good at? Yeah, plus
in the chat there we've got but Murphy and 20 million for Bowen.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I'm sure I don't know if West Ham would take it, but Murphy would do well in the
They've
Championship.
been linked with him before.
Murphy would do well in the Championship. Yeah. We've got another left field one. Yeah, Rumas flying and Mason Green.
Right, move that. No. Forget about that. Not
Ian and Win. How long before the wait time is your Austrians?
Mills has got one because this is actually credible links I saw today, and there's a kind of a bit of a backstory to it as well, so I may as well go for it. So it's El Alzuli from Real Betis, and today there was quite a few Spanish outlets saying that Newcastle have made him the top target to replace Gordon. Now, he got 10 goals in La Liga last season, got nine assists. I think in the Europa League it was 4 goals and 3 assists for Real Betis, of course, under Pellegrini the season before. He helped them get to the Conference League final. He's a 24-year-old Moroccan international winger. He's a right-footed guy who plays on the left. He's quite explosive, dribbler, bit of a free spirit. But essentially, the reason that it seems as if it could happen is because he was at Barcelona, and Barcelona have a 20% sell-on clause on it, so they get 20% of the profit from any deal that goes through. And essentially what the Spanish outlets are saying, and some of them are quite reliable, these ones that are saying that because of that, it means that Gordon would essentially cost them 50 million and not 70 million, because Newcastle would then be paying that money. Well, Real Betis would pay what we pay to them straight to Barcelona. So that might be one to keep an eye on, but there was quite a few genuine strong links in Spain. Nothing in England as of yet. Today I did ask Ben Jacobs and Alex Crook. We got nothing back on it yet. They said they were looking into it, but didn't get anything back on it. But essentially, this might be one to keep an eye on. So if you haven't seen much of him or anything, I would go and have a look at him. He looks a very exciting prospect. As I say, pretty good stats this season in La Liga for Betis and also in the Europa League as well. So I'd check him out because that might sort of happen because of this Barcelona sell-on clause. And also it means that Newcastle would not pay the full amount either in PSR as well. So it's actually a clever financial deal for both clubs. So we'll have to see.
What's his name?
Laggy Steve makes
Abdi Al Alzuli, I'll get it up for you.
2030 is the target, and a busload of 17 and 18-year-olds coming in would appear to be the answer. Well, I don't think 17 and 18-year-olds are necessarily going to be ready for 2030.
No. So it's Abdi Ez Alzuli. Ez Alzuli, yeah. So yeah, even if you type in his name in on Google now, quite a few Newcastle stuff comes up, and as I say, a lot of the sources are relatively reliable Spanish sources, so that might be one to keep an eye on. And he's a direct, he'd be a direct Gordon replacement.
What side does the lad at Wolves, Mane, play?
Matthias Mane, I'd say he's a left winger, yeah. So he's a very good player, yeah. I do like him. First
team ready.
He will. It's an interesting one with Mane. He'll have a lot of teams after him, but I think the idea is he'll probably stay at Wolves for one more season just to get more first team football and then probably move on. But maybe because the links were quite strong and then they've sort of died down a little bit. It's an interesting one.
What foot is the Betis winger? Is he left footed or right footed?
He's right footed. He plays on the left. He's right footed. So he scored some great goals like cutting inside and smashing them in top corner and stuff. He looks exciting. As I said, and the links are pretty credible, certainly in Spain. So, and there does seem to be actual reason behind all of it from Barcelona's point of view and from Newcastle's point of view. So it's just one to keep an eye on. I don't know if it'll happen, but it's just one to keep an eye on. And that would obviously mean that they do consider getting a direct Anthony Gordon replacement in as important, maybe. But I agree with your arguments, actually, the fact that Ramsey and Barnes could do it and spend the money elsewhere. But I think they'll sign a direct replacement. I just think they will.
Well, just quickly,
I think
Jack,
you're right,
on
Jack, but
wingers. Sorry,
Go on.
Ian, I just
Sorry,
quickly
Tim.
say no,
No,
no worries. So I heard bits when I was on the way back, and you were talking about right wing and Elanga, and doing a swap deal with Forest potentially. And so you're speaking about wingers. I would, and I hasn't went well for him by all accounts, but maybe McAtee from Forest, and then you can so you get him as part of the deal, and then you also get another right winger if Jacob Murphy goes, which obviously he might well go, and a lot of fans wouldn't be against that. So whether McAtee would come to be a backup again, where he hasn't had the game time at Forest, who knows? Maybe he wouldn't, but maybe that's somebody we could explore, and maybe McAtee could play in different positions as well.
I was going to say,
He can play in different positions. So, yeah.
But I've never thought of him as a right winger.
No, coming inside on his left foot.
Let's have a look how many times he's played on the right wing. I can remember him playing on the right wing. So I'll have a quick look.
I think he's
Sorry,
Meanwhile, back at the ranch, have a look at some of these stars.
Yeah, and then Ian, what were you going to say as well?
Oh, sorry, well, go on, Ian.
Forgotten.
Oh, well. Can we have Rashford? Says Richard.
I will remember.
Would
What was I going
anybody
to
say
say?
Rashford?
Well, yeah, the fee for Rashford's quite low, isn't it? He's 28 years old, Rashford.
26 million.
26
Yeah.
million for a
But
28.
it's his
300 grand.
wages. It's his wages.
I wouldn't have him as a left side winger in a 4-4-2. I'd have him as a forward. So he wouldn't. You're not solving that. If it is a conundrum for the left hand side, then you're not solving that. If they do deem it necessary, I think, to replace Gordon, then would Rashford track back in a 4-4-2?
No.
He
doesn't track back for Barcelona.
What I was going to say. What I was going to say,
player,
brilliant
player, but he's a forward.
What I was going to say was that there'll be a list of priorities of what they need to replace in the team, isn't it? So I'm sure they will sign a replacement for Gordon that will play on the left wing if in pre-season Park looks like he's nowhere near it. Sanusi looks like he's nowhere near it. But it wouldn't be up the list of priorities when they don't have any right backs and no backup for a left back if Livramento gets. So their priorities. Goalkeeper must be priority.
Yeah.
Which is why I was saying I wouldn't replace him, a replacement out of the Gordon money. I would invest that elsewhere in the team. And if things are moving well and Livramento goes and you've got another little chunk of profit where you can get a couple of players in, that might be where they could look to bring a further depth on the left wing.
Yeah, that's not bad. I do actually agree with that, to be fair. Now, in terms of the goalkeeper situation, I saw that obviously Yawen is apparently close to happening. And then also Lee Ryder was saying that doesn't mean that Newcastle aren't still going to go out and sign a number one either. So, because I've got to be honest, I'd be very concerned if we signed Yawen. He's a 20-year-old. He's only played in League Two. I don't think you throw him in as the number one, and you start the season with Nick Pope again as the number one. I'd be very concerned. I'd be very concerned.
Howard has never ever mentioned that he thinks that there's any fall off in Pope's performance. I think Pope is going to be Howe's number one next year.
Wow.
I just think he loves it so much.
I think that'd be a disaster.
I think I'm not gonna lie. I think that I know, but I think that would actually already, if the fans, so whoever we play first game of the season, and the fans see Pope in goal, right, in the team sheet. I'm sorry, I think already you're putting a negative feel on the season because how many?
You can argue it from the other side, Jack.
Even the staunchest Nick Pope defender now will be adamant and say,
"Yeah,
I'm sorry, it's just done. It's just done with him being the number one. If he wants to stay with the number two, fair enough, but it is done, him being the number one. It is absolutely done. It's not been the same goalkeeper since December 2023. We're nearly 3 years later. We're nearly 3 years later. And the decline every single year gets worse. Like last season, our best spell came when Dubravka was in goal. That was when our best spell came when Dubravka was in goal. Pope was injured. Dubravka was in goal. I've got absolutely nothing against.
I agree entirely with what you say,
but I just think from Howe's point of view, that is a bad decision.
He's got him as a leader, though, hasn't he? He's got him as a leader. He's lost Trippier. He's lost Lascelles. Murphy could easily be out of the picture as well because he's been so appalling. So he hasn't got very many. I mean, I don't know if Shah signs his contract or not, but there's a lot of experience going out of the defence. So Pope is there for continuity, even just as the old hand who can help everybody get worked in for this next season. I wouldn't be surprised if he's not.
I'd be disappointed.
That's where the signing
let's open up the panel then. I mean, how would we feel if legitimately? So you say Yawen joins, as I've said, 20-year-olds, quite young, only played for Roms in League Two. So Pete, I mean, how would you feel if you saw Pope and go for the first game of the season and no other goalkeeper arrived?
It would just undermine any good work that they do, in the summer. And I think that's where the mix of experience and youth would come into play for the signings that they're going to make this summer. Like you say, Ian, Pope is one of the more experienced players. He knows the club. He knows what it's all about. So I agree. You're losing him. You're losing if he isn't there. You would obviously losing Trippier as well. So and Murphy potentially, maybe Shaw, but I think Shaw will stay. But yeah, so I get what you're saying, Ian. I totally get it in terms of maybe that's the rationale Eddie Howe would use, but it doesn't stack up in terms of weighing that against his actual performances as a number one goalkeeper. He was done for last season and after the Celtic.
Well, Peter,
we
can see it. We can see it. We know that. We can see it. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop him being picked at the last game of the season. Or
no, you're right. And that's going to be the test of Eddie this summer. Is how ruthless will Eddie be, and will that come home to roost? Will it undermine the good work? Because as fans we can sit here and kind of, like I say, pull things apart and like say do this, do that. But I think it would be a massive shock if Nick Pope was to turn around his career as number one. I think we can all agree that he was a bit of a shambles last season. So come on, Eddie. I'm just crossing my fingers. Surely he's going to go a new number one, because it wouldn't look good if he didn't.
Yeah. Win. I mean, obviously, as the staunchest Eddie Howe defender.
I was listening to the list from Peter there before. We're losing. Well, I'm telling you, with Pope, we're losing goals.
There we go. Right. Yeah. There we go. I was going to say, so like, say first game of the season, say we're at home, St James's Park. I don't know who it's against. Whoever. You see the lineup, Pope's in goal. How are you going to feel?
I'm not going to feel good at all. No.
Yeah.
We've got to have an upgrade in goal. I don't think there can be any doubt now. It's happened so often now.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have been happy with Ramsdale. I prefer Ramsdale to Pope personally, but
not for me.
No, I think.
But would I want Ramsdale first choice going forward? No, I wouldn't.
No.
Can we get the Trafford deal done? I mean, how many shots have we had at it?
Yeah, I know.
But at least this time, I tell you what, if the Trafford deal gets done for a not stupid price, again, it'll be a fella in Ross Wilson's cap saying that, we've got a team on the job now who can get this sort of deal done.
Yeah.
And that in itself would be positive, not just the fact we're getting a good goalie, but hey, we've got a negotiating team now that know what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, again, like, so same questions to DX and Tim as well. I mean, like, if genuinely see Pope in goal that first game, I just think it already immediately puts a negative spin on the season. I just think that also, I think it puts Howe under more pressure immediately, because it's like, how can you not see what we've all seen for so long?
Yeah, I think it would be gutting to see him still as the number one. Like, I think because we've been trying to sign James Trafford for 2 years, haven't we? So over 2 years. So I think it's one of those things. Really, is this saga now that's ongoing, it would be an amazing thing for Ross Wilson if he could pull that one off, because that's a deal that's been we've had it in the can. We've had an open goal and we've missed the target, and he's gone to Man City, or couldn't get him done the year before because I don't know if Mitchell didn't rate him.
Mitchell
pulled out of the deal. So
useless.
We've missed out on we've missed out on him a couple of times, and now my worry is now there'll be a flock of clubs looking at him, Villa being one, that can offer him other stuff, and the only hope we have is that he has that loyalty to, well, I wanted to come here in the first place. Maybe now is the time to do it. Like, he could be our number one for 10, 12 years. He could be our next Shea Given type goalkeeper. So, yeah, I think it's really important. If Pope's still holding that position now, and he's well past his peak, ever since that shoulder injury at Man United, he's not been the same goalkeeper, then I think we're just letting the rot set in. He's not going to get better now.
But Tony T in the chat, at least somebody's sticking up for Pope. Pope has made mistakes, but a goalkeeper is only as good as his defence.
No, Tony just disagrees with everything I say, so he's just saying the opposite of what I say.
But he says he said he was okay in the last few games.
Yeah, I would turn it
the other way around. Okay in the last few games.
Was it?
And I was watching him come out to hoof the ball against the Brighton player's knee when it hit the post.
Class in
when
that
he
game.
came charging out. When he came charging out, and then he cut Gyökeres in half.
Brilliant against Nottingham Forest. Brilliant against Nottingham Forest when he just missed Anderson's shot at the near post. Came out, flapped at a random cross. Oh, he was
class. At least one blunder in every game.
What a keeper.
Not Montpellier, man.
And a goalkeeper is judged on. A goalkeeper is judged on consistency, not on one-off saves.
Yeah, but as opposed to saying a goalkeeper is only as good as a defence, I would say a defence are only as good as the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
And our defence has been woeful.
Look at Raya. Look at Raya. Raya has a legitimate chance of being player of the season. And if Raya wasn't in goal for Arsenal, they wouldn't win the league, because there've been a lot of games where he has bailed them out. And a good goalkeeper bails you out at the right time. He has not bailed us out. He's cost us about 12 points this season. Genuinely cost us that many points.
And if you remember that Marseille game where
we're
playing quite well, we're winning the game, and then he just had that absolute aberration. I don't know what was going on. And we've ended up losing the game. And you think, and it was that was actually one of the angriest moments of the season for me. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing.
I mean, can you imagine the first game of next season? We're at home, and everyone's up for it. Everyone's buzzing.
Yeah, we've made some good signings and stuff.
Yeah. Game kicks off, ball gets passed back to Pope, and he slices out of play. Like, can you imagine that moment? And that sounds harsh, but I do.
Or worse again, he air kicks and it rolls into his goal.
My word. Yeah, swallow. Just want the ground to swallow.
Honestly, I think it as just even from an optics point of view, it would be a mistake from how to start Pope and go, because he must understand now that the fan base don't trust him at all. I'm not sure any of the players trust him anymore.
Yeah, that's what worries me.
See they don't.
Yeah, it gives,
and you can't say that in the play. You can see there's times when Ramsdale was in goal, it didn't happen. They were perfectly happy to pass a ball back to Ramsdale, even with a bit of pace on. But rather than pass back to Pope, they'll turn, and then quite often now they're getting caught in their own defensive quadrant by the corner flag, because they've made the conscious decision not to pass it to Pope, who could be under just a slight bit of pressure. Instead, they'll try and get out of trouble themselves, and it's ended up being costly.
Yeah, believe it or not, I actually think his kicking at times did improve, just here and there. But like you said,
it's his shot stopping that's got worse.
Yeah, it's true. And it's confidence, isn't it? And like a lot of the players, like obviously Elanga and others, the confidence is on the floor, and it's not easy to get out of that state. And I think Nick Pope is past the point of being able to return to be that command figure that he was. Just to say as well, I think in terms of who we can get in, going back to Nottingham Forest, I think Ortega from Man City went to Nottingham Forest. I'm assuming it was the summer last season.
He went in January. Yeah, I think it was
January. Was it? Right, okay. And I didn't know when it was, because I noticed he was playing for Forest. And I was thinking, hang on a second, that's one we've missed. Could we not have got him? He would have been an upgrade, wouldn't he?
You know, that's a fair point. When you look back at January and just, I can't believe whoever decided that the squad didn't need improving. You know what I mean? Like, it could have got us into Europe. It could have changed. Like, look at the points that got Europe in the end. It wasn't many.
Yeah, 50,
it wasn't many.
2 or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, and Newcastle, I think the season when we finished 7th, we got 60 points, I think it was. So
Yeah.
that would have been enough for 6th place this season, and definite European football. But like, that's where you feel like it was just mistakes made. But the goalkeeping situation, I've said it over and over again. I'll keep saying it over and over again until there's actually a goalkeeper that comes in. It needs sorting out. It needs sorting out. The best teams in the world are built on goalkeepers, top goalkeepers. As I've said, you got Liverpool with Alisson for so long. How good was he? There's Raya. I think in the Premier League, there's not many bad goalkeepers actually. But Pope, unfortunately, his decline has just been so major now. Where we're in this position where the one thing he used to be really good at was shot stopping, right? I don't think he's good at that anymore. In fact, the stats show he's not good at that anymore. Like, again, like, what's two kind of phrases?
At least Pope actually saves shots, unlike Ramsey.
He doesn't. But he doesn't. The stats show he doesn't. The stats literally show he doesn't, especially low down to his left, which was obviously the shoulder he did in. Shots low down to his left, he's got a very, very bad save percentage on. So when that is something that just needs sorting out. And I could maybe, again, you could point out the price tag. He was a good signing for 10 million, of course he was. But equally, Dubravka was 3 million. Dubravka was probably twice the goalkeeper that Pope's been. Argue Krull. How much was Krull? Krull was better as well.
Academy, wasn't he?
Yeah. Newcastle have always had good goalkeepers, and Pope will still go down as a good goalkeeper, but this decline now is just it's actually damaging. It's actually harming the team at this point, to be honest. So yeah.
I bet if you name the faults Pope made, there are at least one or more other person also to blame for those goals.
I don't know why Tony's defending Pope this much. Like, we've all got eyes. We can see how bad he's been.
What they're saying, I'll take you back to Liverpool transformation. They sold Carvalho and bought Alisson and Van Dijk and never looked back.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, the best team. Look at Arsenal as well. Their team is built on their defence, and then from there you get the flair players in, and from there you go from there. And our team, 2022-23, was built on the defence. When Pope could sweep up from the back, Botman was fit. You know, Burn at left back was fine. Dan Burn at left back was actually good. Yeah, he was actually really good at left back. And then we've got, you know, Trippier was flying. Cher was amazing. That was such a good defence back then, but it hasn't necessarily evolved.
Because what happened with that defence, you know, largely in my opinion, is Botman got injured.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And he was never been. He was phenomenal. 22-23.
Oh, outrageous how good he was.
But he's never been that player since for me.
No, I think that with Botman, I think that I saw enough in the second half of the season to suggest that he's going to still be a very good centre back. I don't know if he'll ever go back those levels though. That's probably the problem, to be honest. Yeah, which is sad.
I think you're showing your age a bit there, Jack, by the way, if you think Newcastle have always had a good goalkeeper.
Well, I'm saying, yeah, no, fair enough.
Dave Besant.
No, I am.
Shaka Hislop and Dave Besant. Bloody hell.
In the time
remember those days.
No, in the time I've supported Newcastle.
Besant was a world record for a goalie at the time.
Was he? No, he wasn't. Can't have been.
He was.
Yeah, he was for a goalie.
Really?
Record fee.
Yeah.
World record.
He saved the penalty against Liverpool in the FA Cup final. That doubled his fee.
His value. And but he had a good career, didn't he? He was actually good. He played for England, but he was just terrible for Newcastle.
He was never. He was big. He was a Donnarumma without the ability.
Donnarumma. Do you have better hair than Donnarumma at least, or?
He had the typical. Typical DX haircut at the time.
Yeah, God lucky man.
Fair.
Yeah, he can't have been as bad as Jack Alnwick. Alnwick.
Oh, Anik. Yeah.
Ben Anik, wasn't it?
No,
Jack Anik. It was Jack Anik.
Was Jack, was it?
Yeah. What game did he play in? We drew We drew Hull, I think, or Burnley. It was. We drew Burnley 3-3. I remember him playing that game. But he played the Chelsea win. We beat Chelsea and he played well.
He came on against Chelsea, and he did all right in that game. He did really well.
Probably one of the worst home kits we've ever had. That one, I hated that home kit. It was horrible, that one. With the one
get Matt Sells back. He's a different player now.
Sells is actually, but I
wasn't very good against us, was
he?
He was.
I don't understand. Like, I think that with Sells, when he was in the Championship for us, I actually couldn't believe how bad he was. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, he's actually a bit like Pope and how shaky he was with the ball coming back to him with his feet. Very similar to Pope, like this season. Yeah. It's a strange one though how he went to Forest and suddenly he looked like quality goalkeeper. Yeah.
A 7-foot goalkeeper.
The only 7-foot goalkeeper who would get lobbed every week.
That is unbelievable. 7-foot goalkeeper. That's wow. Yeah.
I think he was 6'8". I think Lurch was his nickname.
Fair. All right, we've had some bad goalkeepers then. Fair enough. But I suppose in terms of consistent number ones, in the time I've been supporting Newcastle, we've always had some pretty good ones, really. So yeah, but but we all know it. We all know that the goalkeeper situation is something that needs sorting out, and it is something that
go for a Cerner check or a Given.
Yeah, look, if we could somehow get a regen of Given, that'd be amazing, wouldn't it? But who knows? We'll have to see what is out there. Trafford obviously seems like the obvious one, but as DX pointed out, there's going to be competition for him. There's Aston Villa. Obviously, Martinez might stay at Villa. It looked like he was going to almost certainly leave, and now after they've won the Europa League, maybe not.
Man United have got a good goalkeeper. Man City have already kind of got Donnarumma, so they don't need Trafford. So I guess a few of the teams, Liverpool, you could roll out a few of the big guns. They don't need, but Tottenham probably might be looking at a goalkeeper. There's a few.
Yeah, Tottenham.
Chelsea need one, don't they?
Yeah, I think with Man City, what I did see was interesting actually is Maresca. A few reports saying that Maresca actually wants Trafford to be his number one.
Really?
So yeah,
we'll have to get Donnarumma.
Yeah. I'm sure we can fork out his wages.
Yeah.
So yeah, because Maresca likes his goalkeepers to be like properly good with his feet. Obviously, we know Pep did, but then Pep decided actually I'm just going to get Donnarumma because Donnarumma's available. Why wouldn't I get Donnarumma? But yeah, I saw a few reports saying that Maresca wants Trafford to be his number one. Who knows if it comes to be that if they're reliable or whatever, but that's sort of what I've seen anyway, to be honest. So yeah, I guess with other sort of transfer, as the transfer window's not even open yet. We've still got ages until the transfer window opens, but.
Well, allegedly it's allegedly it's the 1st of July, but somebody
15th of June.
15th of June, yeah. So it's only a fortnight away.
Yeah, it still feels like that's still pretty far away. And obviously, to be honest, the World Cup is on during then. I don't know how many deals are going to get done during the World Cup. The thing is, we need to be active, though. We actually need to be.
I think there will be.
Because Lamine Camara will be playing for Senegal, for example. On the world stage, has a few good games. Can't forget about him. That is the truth of the matter.
Is he a similar player to a Tiote type player, like a ball?
Yeah, I've seen a lot. I've seen like bits of him. Certainly in the AFCON, I watched a lot of him during the AFCON, and he is he sweeps it all up. But he's also like technically good as well, so he can find the forward passes as well. He's got it all really. I think he'd be a player that Newcastle sell if we were to sign him, it'd be selling him the idea of, okay, come here for a few years and then you get your move probably somewhere else. But that's probably the way we need to trade with some players. I think I saw something that Mark Douglas was saying that is what they are going to use the Gordon as an example. So say like, this is what we can do. We can bring you in, make you better, and then move you on to one of the best clubs in the world, so it'll be interesting.
Just on the subject of Yaoun.
Yeah.
Because Tony's saying, wasn't Krull like 16 when we bought him? I've just Googled it because I knew he was young, but I didn't think he was that.
Yeah.
He was 18 when we signed him.
Yeah.
Born in
Den Haag,
April '88, and we
Den
signed
Haag
him
or
in.
something.
Say again, sorry.
Did we sign him from a club called Den Haag or Ten Haag or
Yeah,
something?
yeah.
Yeah, Den Haag. Yeah.
Den Haag, not Ten Hag. That's the manager.
No.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
He made his debut as a teenager away at Barcelona, didn't he?
No, it was Palermo.
Palermo.
Man of
Was
the match.
that?
Palermo, yes.
Man of the
And
match, I think.
Glenn
Yeah, he
Roeder
was.
was the manager.
Yeah,
Yeah, man of the match. Yeah.
it was brilliant. But I do think that we will be active when you. I've read that article by Mark Douglas, and it paints a good picture behind the scenes that they've got a lot of things in place, and it's a case of now following through. So I do think they've put a lot of work in up till now.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. Got a super chat.
Yeah,
Does
it
look
would
Hannibal Lecter.
appear that both Ian and I are looking like Hannibal Lecter tonight.
I got rid of the hat because I thought I was looking like Win.
Yeah, so
You normally behind bars win.
Another one there from Steve Hardwick, the only keeper who couldn't touch the crossbar.
That is not a good trait for a goalkeeper. That's why I'm not a goalkeeper. Many other reasons as well, but that's one of them. So I've got 5 minutes left, but Trippier basically looks like he's going to potentially have a move straight away to Wolves. He's in talks with Wolves. He's had a chat with Rob Edwards about moving in there on a free. They have already got Adam Armstrong signed up. Then you could get Trippier as well. Feels like they're building a team that could absolutely walk the Championship, to be honest. Do we still think Trippier could do a job in the Premier League? What do we reckon? Go to Ian.
Well, I've written Trippier off several times, not just this season, but he's always come back and played really well. I think even his match-winning man of the match performance in the Carabao Cup final was after he'd had a very, very ropey patch. The thing is, I would have kept him on if he'd wanted to stop, but Wolves might give him a 3-year contract, and we didn't want them that long. So, yeah, I think he's a very good player. He's still got a lot to offer. Maybe stepping down to the Championship, he can play 3 more years, and good luck to him if he does.
Yeah, Tim, we expect him to rip it up in the Championship if he takes it.
I think he would, and I think the leadership that he'd bring as well will be vital in that slog of a campaign as what it is in the Championship. And I think he probably could still do a job in the Premier League. And if he was a rotation player, obviously playing the cup games as well, I think you could probably still do that. And obviously in the dressing room, he'd be still a massive influence. But because we've spoken about this before, about keeping players on when they pass the sell-by date, and we've done that too often in recent years. I mean, I would say, though, that as long as they can do a job on the pitch and give that leadership, then the two things have to be aligned. I think Trippier would do that. But if he wants to be a guaranteed first-team player, then you've got to respect that, haven't you? He's willing to go to the Championship to be that, then fair play. And I think he'll be spot on for Wolves, and it'd be a massive miss for us behind the scenes as well.
Yeah, I think you make a good point about the behind the scenes, but we all know how important he was as a leader. Are we expecting that to cause too many problems, Peter?
I think it will if they don't get that balance right in the recruitment department. So, yeah, you see Trippier this season. I know it's been a really poor season, but when he's warming up as a sub on the touchline, he's still barking out the orders. And the kind of leadership we've seen over the last few years, it's hard to. I don't think you come across that very often. So it is hard to replace. I think as long as, like Timmy said, they've done a lot of groundwork. So if they get the balance right with the recruitment, hopefully, because you see Murphy could be on his way out. I think he could, for next season, if we're going to have a rebuild, be part of that rebuild going either way. So that's another experienced head that you lose. So yeah, they've got to be careful about that. I think that's why keeping Shaw would be a good idea just for that 1 year. But yeah, I think with Trippier, for me, the reason why if he does go to Wolves is because like you say, I think he will rip it up in the Championship, and he probably wants to end his career on a high and not kind of scrambling around too much in the Premier League where he may be struggling and not enjoying it. I think it's a bit like Kevin Nolan when he went to West Ham, isn't it? I mean, he wasn't that age; he was a bit younger, but he left Newcastle at the Premier League,
Oh, so good.
and just got West Ham promoted first time of asking. So I think Trippier will do class for Wolves if he goes there.
We did it with fullbacks a few times to get back up. Correct me if I'm wrong, Win. Stuart Pearce looked past it before he came to Newcastle, but then because it was the division down, he was great
No,
for 2 years.
I think Pearce came to us in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Sorry?
I think Pearce, he came to us in the Premier League, didn't he? He played in the Champions League.
Was it?
Yeah,
Right,
didn't he come
okay.
under Dalglish?
I was thinking a bit further back. Kenny Sansom, Stephen Carr. These were players that long.
But if you talk to certain players about Stephen Carr, listen, I thought Stephen Carr was a good player for us, but I think I was the only, unsurprisingly, I was the only person in the crowd that thought
He was good for Tottenham.
No, what I meant was,
I thought he had some great games for us, but again, there was a narrative against him, and it didn't matter what he did. It was never going to be.
He was terrible. I think the one we got rid of, I never saw him play, but you've spoken about him when is Frank Clark. He was about 32, 33. We got rid of him because he was too old.
Yeah.
And he went and won 2 Champions Leagues with Forest.
One of the 17.
Yeah, how many? Didn't Frank Clark make loads of players for Newcastle?
The old saying goes, does it not, that you can't have too many leaders? Well, I think maybe you can, and I think if Dan Burns there, Bruno's there, I think they'll stand us in good stead. Trips, he's on my Mount Rushmore of Newcastle. I love him to bits, and he's exactly that. He'll do a fantastic job wherever he goes. And you've only got to look at his part in I think it was the second goal against West Ham. Technically, I've never seen a fullback better technique than he is. The way you can control the ball, kill a ball from, you can hit it at him as hard as you like, and you control it and not lose it. He's just sensational.
Just quickly, I remember.
Good luck to whatever he does.
Just on Stephen Carr, I remember when Newcastle signed Carr, and they would signed a few other players before that in the summer, and Freddie Shepherd was on the phone to Sky Sports News, and before they signed Stephen Carr, they asked him, "Are there any more signings on the horizon, Freddie?" And his response was, "Well, there's always another car in the lot," and left it at that.
The car on the run.
Very good. Very good. Well, on that note, we will love you and leave you. There's no game this weekend. Get in.
Yeah.
Come on.
I think we've got those.
Is there not a Champions League final?
I don't care about that. Who cares about that? I don't care about it's Newcastle. I'm talking about Newcastle again for a long time.
And isn't it crazy that that's not an FA Cup final this Saturday?
Yeah, it is crazy. It is crazy. Yeah, it doesn't make much sense. Anyway, but no Newcastle game to worry about. We can have a reset. The World Cup's coming up soon, but we'll be back, of course, speaking about transfers.
Baby.
As it goes. Have a great rest of your weekend. Don't try and burn in the sun too much, but have a good one. See you later. And with the lads.
Thank you for all your super chats. How are the lads?